life. And certainly, and no matter how it is, no matter what they will say about you, how they will plan and say the worst things about you in life, keep the faith. Keep the faith. Keep saying thank you to Allah because He's the one. He controls everything we do, no matter what you do in life. Most especially in this senior world, they will say lots of things about you. Always be the best you think you can be. Live the rest of your life. Because the fear of poverty is the beginning of education, hard work, and determination. Let me say good evening to all the good people of Great Liberia. I want to say hello and welcome to the show. Issues of today on Voice of Liberia 104.1 from the nation's capital, Monrovia, and 89.7 in Kakata, other parts of Liberia. I want to say good evening to all the good people of this great country, Liberia. It feels good to be back here today after some weeks being off the radio. And I want to say I'm grateful. It is because of you today we are here. And it is because of you we're going to do all we can do in our power to present to you issues of today. Fascinating, important discussions. You don't want to miss it. My name is Sekou. I'm Sekou Sharif. Inshallah, with the blessing of my parents, I'm going to be here tonight up to 9 o'clock on the show. Too many things to talk about. What's happening in Liberia? The political issues. All the political activities taking place in this country as we move towards October 10. And certainly, the politicians will continue to say what they want to say to the electorates. And some of them will come and say the worst things, and they will come and say the right things. It is every one of us responsibility to checkmate those of the people coming to us. What are they saying to us? Is it truth or they are all political rhetorics? But certainly my country, Liberia, will always be better. And to those of the people there in Gibi, those of you in Kakata, Gibi County, you're in Grand Bassa, you're there in Bon, Grand Cape Mount, Banga Bon County, Lofa, Bonjama, Plibo Sodakan District in Maryland County, Grand Jide, Grand Coup, all other parts of Liberia tonight. I want to say hello, my people. And today's edition promises to be great. As a matter of fact, we're going to be discussing the issues that matter to our country, the growth and development of Liberia. And let me give you a line of what we're going to be doing here tonight on the show. And then shortly at 7 o'clock, we're going to have two guests. One going to be from the government end and another from the opposition. The opposition think it is time for them to unseat the president. And they think that Ambassador Joseph Newman-Baka, particularly the Unity Party, they've got all the solutions to the problems Liberia has been faced with. And so they think it is about time to give them the opportunity. While the folks in the government think that President Weah has done much more and he deserves re-election. With all the things he has done in this country, like they will say, it is the first of its kind under the leadership in a period of 6 years to do what he has been able to do. Who's saying the truth? How can the Liberian people believe some of the sections? These plus more tonight will be deep intro as we're going to have our two guests on the show. One is from the government, and he's Roger Champi Charlie. He's the community engagement strategist. He's going to join us here tonight as he faces Daniel Sano of the Liberty Party in collaboration with Unity Party. We're going to have a fruitful discussion looking at all other areas within the government and also listening to their messages, what they've got to do for the Liberian people and what they said they want to do and what they're capable of doing, what they've done for the Liberian people. All of the important discussions tonight will be right here on the radio. Before that time, there are lots of things happening in this country. We're going to look at a little bit, and tomorrow we're going to take most of our time to dig deep into this issue concerning the senator of Mangibi County in person of Emmanuel Nukwe. We'll just give you a little taste of it today, gist of it, to tell you one or two things and setting the basis for our in-depth discussion. And we'll also talk about this issue that has to do with district number 11 in Montserrado County. And someone said, country may, and someone is saying, the Supreme Court has ruled. And we'll close doors on this issue where we have training issue and look at the issue about LEC. Fellow Liberians, there are lots of things I'm getting from this entire LEC issue though. Some of you will not like me for what I will say. Some of you will like me for what I will say. But it is the beauty of what we do here. My name is Sekou. I'm Sekou Shari. Certainly, we are here tonight. Let me say good evening to my own good friend and brother, Kutu. I'm told you're listening to the broadcast way there in Mangibi County. I'm told through our substation. That's Voice of Liberia in Mangibi, particularly in Kakata, and its frequency is 89.7. I want to say thank you to the entire team for doing all the the management. And the next move is in Bon County, where we're going to have Voice of Liberia very shortly in Bon County. That will cover other parts of the country. They will move on to Lofa, other parts of Liberia as well. Okay, folks, I want to say thank you for joining us. For those of you just joining us on today, it is the very first time. I want to say thank you to you very, very much. This is where we converge at about this time to talk about the issues that matter to our country and all of the important issues in the country. By the way, on tomorrow, we resume our international updates where we will join our international correspondents at about this time to give us update about what's happening out there. Mafila has just entered the studio. She wants to tell me how it looks like. I'm told you've cut across, seen some of the things the people supporting District 11 rejected candidate. We in person a countryman, right? Yeah, right. So she wants to say something about it. Mafila is our roaming reporter, and she covers all of the important news in Central Monrovia. And so when it comes to the issues in Central Monrovia, other parts of the country, we always trust Mafila. Mafila, good evening.
Good evening, Seku, and good evening to our many listeners out there.
You just entered the studio, and there's a huge crowd, not just far from the area. But how was the program today? Citizen Voices.
Yeah, so far the program went well. It
Mm,
was fine. We interacted with intellectuals from the intellectual
mm,
from there at 11th Street,
mm,
and we had a chance to talk with residents of that particular district because on the program we promote peace and of course we talk about district issues.
mm.
So today was splendid. We have conversation like I said, with residents of that particular district. So it was okay for my part. But I heard you talking about District 11.
Mm.
I'm not really following that
Okay.
story. But I'm just excited seeing you on your program because you've been away for a while now. So while I was coming here, hearing you on the radio, and I was glad at least my boss is back on the radio, especially back on this program.
I know, right? So you just been watching me say whether I will return whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
But
but
it's good to have you back on the radio.
okay, that's very good. So let me say thank you very much. I feel like you guys have done extremely well. Let's continue to make this to work. And as a matter of fact, we all can do it together.
Okay, so that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Mafila is our roaming reporter. She presents the program Citizen Voices. You listen to her. But let's move on to some important issues here. There are lots of things happening around the world. If you listen to some of the things that are happening, at times you get scared as the way you see African leaders are being removed from power, particularly you have a coup in some of the areas in Africa. And all I can say to Liberians, let us discuss the issues. We can disagree to agree, but we should not undermine the peace of Liberia. If there's no peace, we will not be where we are. We will not speak the way we are to speak. We will not be given the opportunity to present various programs that you sit home and enjoy. Right? So we advise that let us maintain the peace. We can disagree to agree, but we should not do things that will undermine the peace of our country, Liberia. Certainly. Now, fellow Liberians, there's something I want to bring to your attention, and very important. And the reason why I want to say this is because I hail from Mangibi County, and I'm one of the sons of Mangibi County. Uh, I think it's fair enough to speak for those of the people that are unable to speak. Once I've been given the opportunity to speak, on tomorrow, I will bring you the entire report or reports of performance or the performances of Senator Emmanuel Nukwe when he served as representative at the House of Representatives, and also the recent ARED report. Fellow Liberians, for those of you who don't know, let me say this. I know some of you know, but it's also important to let you know. The reason why you elect lawmakers, it is for three major reasons. One, that person should be able to represent. They're supposed to be able to make law. They're supposed to be able to use their oversight. And one of the important areas is about the participation as to you making laws or providing ideas as to what the people of your county or district want to see in the country or in their district or in their county or in the country. So you elect people that will be able to make total representation that will not go there to arrange themselves at the detriment of the people. Hmm? Mm-hmm. Do it. But you want someone that will be able to give, that will be able to perform where they will be able to speak about issues that will tend to benefit the district, the county, and the country at large. Why is it important to bring out the performance report and performances of Honorable Nukwe of Mangibi County? We're going to be moving as something much more bigger than this, but it is fair enough to educate the people about their leaders. because most of us don't understand when these people come and give us hand up, and then we think that they're doing something good for us. No, they're not doing something good for us, no. You know the reason why they're doing these things? It is because they've not been able to make the laws that will provide what they are providing to us as individuals. If the lawmakers were to make good laws, some of the burdens that are on their head will not be on their head, though. It is because they are not doing what they should do. And they come and give you hand out and think they've done something for you. I will give you the report and I make you to understand whether since Honorable Emmanuel Nuka became representative to his current position, what has he done? What is the grading of his performances he has carried out in the House of Representatives and that of the Liberian Senate of where he is currently? Do you know why I say I want you people to get an understanding about it, fellow Liberians? It is because people tend to mislead the people and think that they're doing what they've been elected for, but not knowing that they've left what they've been elected to do and doing what they were not elected to do. There is no lawmaker or anyone within the House of Representatives to be telling you that they will go and build a road for you. If a lawmaker, people like us, we around a lawmaker or somebody wants to be, or they say, me, I will do this, you can do that. But it is not your function. You know the reason why you will go and build a road? It is because you've not been able to do the proper representation as to make the central government to do the road, because it is the burden and the work of the central government to build roads. Then you see people will come and say, okay, you know what? We'll give a loan and all these things to the people. You know the reason why they're doing it? It is because they've not been able, all of the monies that have been able to, all of the things they've signed being sent to various government ministries and agencies. For example, the Ministry of Commerce, they will get money there for local businesses and everything. The lawmakers, they will sign these things. They know the government is doing it, but because they are very compromised, like the Emmanuel Nuke, they will not use what they call the oversight. They will not use what they call the oversight to know whether what they've approved, if it has been used for the actual purpose in which they've approved set amount. You know what comes into play? Because they they either seek the personal interest or not doing these things to benefit the people. Coming back to the reports we're talking about and some other findings, everything I would say about Nukwe on this radio and other programs, I will speak with them with facts. I will read, I will play audios, and everything I will say backed by fact. I was looking in my recent, and it brought to my attention that this greed for being the godfather of a county is becoming very. It is not becoming, but it is bad to the extent it is causing serious problem for my Gibi than good. Those of you, I would tell you, Nukwe says that he's the godfather of my Gibi County, but we will give you the election in 2017 result. How much did Unity Party receive when Nukwe was the vice tender bearer on the Unity Party ticket? You know what it says to you? It says something different. But like I said, we will go into it. There are lots of things. You listen to people from Angibi, other parts of the area that will tell you more. We'll go into that issue starting from tomorrow. We'll bring you these things out and we'll let you know. Let's talk about this issue that has to do with district number 11. I have been following district number 11 issue. Um, quote unquote, they said the one of the candidates who's happening to be one where goes by the name Countryman, original Countryman, has been denied for bearing two citizenship, where he's an American citizen, also he's a Liberian citizen. And the law says once it's proven, that person should be able to denounce one of our citizenship. Most especially if you want to contest in Liberia, and it is something that it is difficult. I don't know, but they went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled. If that could just be about the National Elections Commission, I would say that I know many persons contesting that know that they have American citizenship. I can prove it. Even some of the current lawmakers, they have American citizenship. But I don't know for this how it is playing out. And actually, I tried reaching out to I think they said the original country mayor or someone around, but I think they're having their protests or whatsoever. But let me say this to you people in District 11 that think and you support country mayor. The Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia is the highest arbiter of justice in our country. Whenever the Supreme Court ruled, nothing else can rewrite it. The only place you can go that to the ECOWAS court. So I saw some people today around the court. Some of the people they all were some of the folks were standing and they all were protesting, saying that and I was driving. I said anyway we'll see how it will play out. But what I know of, when the Supreme Court ruled in a case, I don't see if it is the lower courts. Now you will have the Supreme Court where we either veto some of the things and get it right, and then but the Supreme Court bench ruled in a case. I think the only place that you can take your case should be the ECOWAS court. And mind you, we're in the campaign period, and if you go to the ECOWAS court, a campaign will end before anything happen in that case. But mind you, it is a political period, and so politicians will do things that will get the stronger ones out of the race. That's how it is. So we pray and we wish that the folks in district number 11 will handle this issue properly. We'll still get more information about it. On the issue of LEC, fellow Liberians, I don't know whether, but I mean, look at it from this point. You see, LEC from day one has created the environment for people to be non-compliant. LEC has created the environment where people will do things by themselves. Now, before coming to what we are experiencing in the country, people paid for meters in this country, they don't have it. LEC knows exactly they don't have meters, they accept people money. LEC has had problems upon problems with the management. Anyone you put there, they had their own problem. So people will go and pay to LEC for their meters or whatsoever, or the normal procedure you want to pass through. LEC will take your money, knowing fully well perhaps they don't have that service or that services, but they will still go and take your money. And when they take your money, at the end of the day, You will be running behind them. Let me say in a simple English. You will be running behind them and say, "Oh, I pay for my meter, or I pay for this. I got problem. I want you to come fix it and everything." In all fairness, are you not encouraging the people to do what? How do you call it? Power theft? Are you not encouraging the people to do power theft? Because how do you go to the extent you pay for something you don't have it, and there's no clear picture to say to you that you will get it at this time, and then you allow people now you'll be pushed to do what? To go and do power theft. It's as easy now. Now, worst of all, we have the current situation. I'm told this entire thing that is ongoing, it is the LEC people themselves. Yes, certain people think say the monies that were being paid, it was not a physical issue where people will be able to do something or maybe get something out of it the way in which they want to do it. So the very people at LEC manipulated and did what it did to have the entire country to go through what they're going through. We're in an electionary period. Anything you do, it has effect on the government. I wonder what the people in government they seeing this. You pay through the system. John Brown would not get what he's supposed to get. I'm telling you from a very reliable source within LEC that certain individuals that think that the way they used to pay the money through the company in which they enter everything, certain people were not getting certain thing and everything. So to get all of the physical cash they needed to do things that will have this thing to happen. And the worst of all, imagine we needed to purchase LEC. They call it the token, right? We went as early as 4 this morning, and the people there, you know what they do? I don't know when this country will be better for every one of us. Ah, God. Let me tell you something. The number of illegal current people, eh? You don't even generate half of the money you people will spend. And if it happens, LEC is responsible. Nobody can be saying, you telling people say don't do this. But LEC is careless, and the people respond careless way. That's how it is. How do you go build a system, LEC of all, in this age of time? Eh? We have people to hack the LEC, LEC system. Eh? Even though, according to the information, when the very people, when they informed them, but they decided to ignore it because they knew what they wanted to do. So people, they have station points like the Douala area. You go there as early as 4. Before reaching there, the people that will be selling the LEC to you people, you already have that list of what kind of country is this? Then when you get there, you stand in the line and you reach before where you're supposed to get the LEC and pay for it because you don't want to steal LEC. You don't want to use the wrong way. You want to do the right thing. And you know what they'll do? Someone that has not been on the line because they got the name of the person, and they will send the LEC to the person in front of you because they want. Now you see, at times there are many persons that will not be, they won't want to do such or humiliation in a sense, or waste their time at the end of the day to even get what they're supposed to get. It becomes a problem, even though they're paying that money. LEC is not doing well. From day one, LEC is like a serious problem to us in this country. It is unfair. In this time, in this country, when you have election. Election is all in this country campaign. And you, LEC, you doing this. Do you know how many things or how many persons you are putting against the very government? And I think anyone stealing current in a simple average, any one of you, you are stealing current, you are 100% right to steal current because LEC is creating an environment. So why if we are law abiding people and we think say we don't want to do the right thing, we bypass the process. Or other people will do the same. Like an old lady came from EWA. Imagine that an old lady went to that place just to go and purchase $5 LEC. Amen. And up to now, LEC is not giving you any tangible information as to when they will resume or how they're going to do this. But they got. I think LEC is a very serious problem for us, and we all need to even shift them because this is totally wrong. You don't have this. It is totally unfair to the user. Let me take a few calls to discuss at 7 o'clock. Two guests will be here. Right? 07709079070 07709079070 0880907907 0880907907. We'll try to activate a number for those of you in Kakata, other parts of Liberia, so that you can weigh in on our discussions.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good evening, sir.
Okay, how are you?
Go ahead, sir. I'm good.
Okay. Madam Kamara calling from Atmosphere of Exercise.
Mm.
Yeah, you see, one thing about the issues concerning the LEC, the government sometimes, I can just say everything really, they are just telling the Labrador people that we should go out there because that's the only way that we can survive. Because LEC, let's just say, foreign as a whole, is a unique feature within our country. It's safe at eating. And you understand? You get me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's safe protection because LC has multiple functions. It brings electricity to the house. It's safe. It prevents criminals from coming to your homes. Nowadays, people are sleeping in darkness and people work with electrical appliances. So, in case LC is not here within the country, how will we survive? So, are the government telling us that we should go about the power tap or we should go and work up by 4 o'clock just to get LC? That can be possible. I just want to say thank you. I will stop here.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me take another person on the line. We try to get a line for those of you out of Monrovia, so you can call us as well to be part of the show. Let me take this person here. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Let's hear you.
Okay, my name is Yahaya E. Jalingo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling from Central Monrovia.
Go ahead, sir.
I have to do, thank you very much. My observation has to do with this issue of the countrymen, the original countrymen.
Mm-hmm.
I think, in real truth, we are not being fair to ourselves. I'm a naturalized Liberian. The Constitution of Liberia says that I can be anything, only the president and the vice president I cannot be.
Okay.
Now, how do you expect somebody who is born in Liberia, father, mother, Liberia, born in Liberia, traveled to America, took a citizenship in America, and decided to come back to his country, and you ask him, he must renounce his citizenship. Now, if this man renounces his citizenship, and he goes to elections, he may be a medical doctor in America, has opportunities in America. He renounces his citizenship, contest and don't win. Do you think he'll go back to America, become an American citizen?
But that one, not somebody been there. That's why you should know exactly, know the fit
saying,
of what you want to do.
So what we are saying, we are not really being fair to ourselves. And the worst part is that many government officials here are American citizens or European citizens or French citizens. Why? Because they are doing it hiding. We are not being fair to ourselves. Let's be very, very realistic. This man has a case. I don't know. They say what is right may not be expedient. What is expedient may not be right. But his case is a case that needs to be visited. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me take more calls here on our two local lines here. And for those of you out of Monrovia, you're listening, I'll give you a number, alternative number. The two local numbers here, let me announce for those of you just joining us on 0770 907 907 0770 907 907 0880 907 907. Are the two numbers you can call us on. For those of you out of Monrovia, maybe you're finding it difficult, call us on 0770-942048. Let me take this person. Hello.
Hello, Sebu.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, how are you, sir? This is Eli Wizard. I come from Broad Street.
Ellie, go ahead.
Sebu, to the LEC issue, my brother. Just what you said, as if to say you were somewhere when we were discussing the city. How can the government sit there at this kind of time when we are going for election? Then they kind of, then they kind of current, then nobody is saying anything, and the president who is looking at them, he doesn't know that people are on the money. If people were angry to the extent where some people went into that land, they money around 2, 3. When the people got there to be served, they are saying that they will serve up to $50. Can you imagine?
No, you see?
It got people very angry, and they said that in fact they were resolving to power theft. And they bet any kind of NEC group to come to that community to go ask them as to what what they are stealing current. Can you imagine? You see where we are going? So this current is very discouraging. I want to you, my brother. Seriously.
Thank you.
At times, at times they want to look for it. The country did the outside the country. If it
I will say the country. Okay. Thank you. This person. You said good. Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. Let's hear you.
I mean, I want to my attention has to be drawn to the LEC problem, my brother. The LEC are laying down, they are blocking me for this current. Supposed to do an election day. Vote to vote. Thereafter, voting the current vote for 2 people. What would become the election result? And one of the problems I have is that for me, I can always say I'm not always against Joria. But you know why? I brought between Joria in a sense, for Joria to come over public radio in Nigeria to say what he had done. Say 1847, nobody had done it. And they need to feel bad for him. Because they were not going to be in place for them, they were not going to be who he is today. But we all that one. Let me see, my anytime. I never you do time here, we never used to get out of current. Even the substation are very poor. Every time the generator were on. Proviaki say he didn't want to provide cover for like 10 people. We need to say, stay here. He brought that to say. Yeah, look at what we need today. How we have a see. I had my meter, I said $50. Up to that time to this time, I know what I nobody cares. Even the truth is happening, my brother. But anyway, I like you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Is there any way that Liberia? It's just good to say this thing. Let me take more calls. Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Ebi.
Go ahead. This is Sekou. Go ahead.
Okay, Sekou, good evening. With LEC, they are the cause of power theft. Because even if you carry a report, you will run to that office until you get it. So, the gap, people start doing their own thing. Based upon that, many people live on free current. And people who do not even have generators are selling current. But they are the cost. A better stay for the country to generate enough funds is that you put everybody on flat rate. Instead of other people taking it to put on flat rate, they collecting the money, then they come and collect that money for everybody on flat rate. As soon more extra you put, you not pay the camp, I don't know meter but the year for the way they carry it. I think that could be much better off. And again, what I have in my mind, our simple is like they took cap. Even if you get part in the car, you get down to pay, they will come out.
It depends where you park.
Yeah, if you get parked to PP, you will come and pay.
That's what I'm saying. It depends where you park. They got a place you should park, and they got a place that you should not park.
Yeah, they got a place to park. If you park off the road, you are parked. Once you are off the road, you will not park at the driveway, but when you park off the road, you are parked. See? And there's no police connection with it. You will just take your car and carry inside that place. They call the executive and the rest of it, they say the trophy is not safety.
Okay. Thank you, my brother. Let's take another person. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Good evening. Let's hear you.
Yeah, my name is General.
Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah,
Go ahead. You're live.
yeah. I call from West Point.
Okay. You seem, it's like you're not ready. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Tato Konganu.
Yes. Go ahead. Oh, too bad. We lost you. You can call us back, so we'll have you on our few more calls. Shortly, we'll have our guests in here on the 0770907907907907880907907. For those of you in the alternative line, maybe you out of Monrovia, uh, you can call us on 077094 2048. And just for today, that's the alternative. We'll have a line for those of you from my GB, other parts of the country that will be listening to us, will call us as well, so that you can have your input on issues we'll be discussing on the radio, which we highly appreciate, because getting every one of you, you know, your own suggestions, your own recommendations, or whatsoever
Hello.
discussions will be very important. Hello,
How you doing, sir?
go ahead.
I'm Abraham Situate calling from Norway.
Mm-hmm.
And the ADC issue within the government intervention to create a special I know it can be able to make other people to get into life. They take to other people's life. But ADC cannot be taken in another way. Always exposed to light. Let the light continue to be upon us. At least because God says, hey, let there be a light, and there was light. So appealing to LEC, we should not be doing this because our election time, and this means it will be killing other political people, other voters. They will be playing on it logically, and other politicians will take it to be issue. So really begging the government. And the instead of the city parking, I saw the people who can take the cars, the car park at the bus stop to pull a passenger down. The guys making the last the place where I call where New Jersey Junction. So very appealing to the government.
Okay, thank you, thank you. I'm getting the news from the court. Let me try to speak to someone. I think one of the persons, I think, should be the Secretary General. Your please hold your calls. I'm getting the news that countrymen, the court ruled in favor. I don't know. The court ruled in favor of countrymen contesting district election. God. Let me try to see as what I can reach out to someone from there and to speak to them as to whether what is the outcome of the ruling from the Supreme Court. Is it what I'm getting? I want to get someone from there to talk to them. I think this should be the Secretary General of the campaign team of Countrymen. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, people, and let me say good evening to the state of nothing but district number 11. Let me say good evening to Liberia at large.
Kindly
My name is
introduce yourself, please, and your position.
Thank you. My name is Dr. F. Dembo. I'm the Secretary General for the campaign team of Dr. Thomas M. Stewart Jr., the original countryman.
Where are you currently as we speak?
I'm in Bernardville, right around the Bernardville SFC, as we are gradually committing to our various destinations based on information that we got on the basis of a recall.
Were you part of the people today that converged not too far from the grounds of the court and that of the headquarters of the police station in Monrovia?
The first thing is that I even appear on Star FM to provide some information about that.
Why did you people converge there today?
Well, we firstly got there to respect the ruling of the Supreme Court, that indeed we respect the ruling as the final officer of our justice. But we think that there are more to be done in terms of domicile of Dr. Thomas M. Stewart Jr. So we gathered to call on the Supreme Court along with international partners instead of an investigative team to visit the a tour to determine whether he does not reside in this community or if he is there. That's one reason for which we gather. So we gathered to call on a Supreme Court to also recall the case for final argument because we gave a ruling for which we were not satisfied because we said that the due diligence was
What
not
was the
done.
complaint filed? Was it that he's not a domicile of of the district, or is it because of his citizenship?
The complaint was filed based on two counts
Hmm.
that he is not a domicile and he's not a citizen of the country. But the issue of citizenry was tossed out by the next and in the Supreme Court. But the issue of domicile has been a problem with the Supreme Court not going to actually investigate properly as to where that the people reside. And it came up with a ruling. We respect the ruling, but we think we have to go beyond. So to come in with ruling in this kind of form and manner, we expect the Supreme Court as a wise place and midst of people of wisdom.
Were there any other ruling today?
Well, today there was no ruling today. We actually called the Supreme Court for the recall of an argument into this matter. That is the reason why
Are you people aware that whenever the Supreme Court ruled, it is the it is the hardest decision making, brother, in terms of our judiciary system in our country?
we are aware, and we also are aware that Supreme Court ruled in the case of the beer mountain, and in fact, you have to recall because they said that there was some missteps along the line because the decision from the Supreme Court is coming from down lower court to the Supreme Court, and there was some missteps, so you have to recall their decision, and at the end of the day, the beer mountain won the case. So we are saying to the Supreme Court, we will remain peaceful, but all we need is that we need a committee that will comprise of ECOWAS, the UN, the American Embassy, the international partner, the NEC. So basically, the whole of Dr. Thomas N. Jr.
Do you think that will happen within this case?
Definitely, that's why we are hoping that it happens because our district is made of peaceful people who want to remain at peace. We don't think that 4% or 5% at the Supreme Court can block us to chaos because the international partner has seriously paid good money to the peace that we are enjoying. And the
are you people contemplating on doing something that could cause chaos in the country?
We don't want to resort to that, and that's the reason why we think it is about time that every walk of life.
Then why can't you people accept the ruling?
So we will not accept the ruling because we see that it is intended to satisfy two persons who are the district, and the district is above.
Who are those persons you think? The two persons.
Lafia Gu and Fiatana Poli. The ruling is intended to satisfy Lafia Gu, Fiatana Poli, and to the extent by Arthur Hilton and even the incumbent Rojoku who see his defeat.
But you're not probably only two persons, so you said two, you call four.
That is the reason why I said by extension.
But this is something I'm yet to get. This issue about the domicile, it happened in one of the cases involving the current senator of Bomi County, and the National Elections Commission did not pay heed to it. Why is it your leader, your candidate, has become a victim of it?
And the thing is that the National Election Commission has also certificated our placing number 13 on the ballot paper. It is the Supreme Court who want to actually satisfy Lafia Gu and Fiatana Poli. And it's not the Election Commission because they did their own survey before certificating Dr. Thomas N. Jr. So that the tour is actually
where is he currently? I'm told he was arrested the other time.
He was not arrested, he was invited. And there's no way that Arthur can be arrested because he has not committed any crime. He has now gone against the Lord of the Republic of Liberia, and he will not be arrested.
And the thing about this election, everyone think that we all need to maintain the peace. Are you people thinking about the maintenance of the peace? Hope you people don't do what that will plunge us to something different in this country, though.
Definitely, that is the reason why even today we have them with the police and we have them peaceful, we have them friendly, we continue to talk to the police, we continue to check on, we have them very peaceful and friendly. We are confident of the fact that there are more money spent into Liberia peace that we enjoy today and we are willing to maintain the peace of our country, but we think the right thing should be done. So
When will you
we
people
will not.
return at the? When will you people return? If nothing, when will you people return?
We will go to airport, we will go to the American embassy, we will go to the UN, we will go to the AU to let them
But
know
my
that
brother, the other thing you're going to all the places you just named might not help you people because election is time, campaign is on.
going to help us. Yaratua does not need to run campaign in our district. With all of those distractions, let us do everything until October 6th to go to the ballot box and determine who really the people have resolved to elect as their next lawmaker. It is not about campaign. It is the will of the people, and there's no way that you can go against the will of the people. So I am calling on Justice Yamin Kwekwe Bashir. I'm calling on Chief Justice Nanayo. I'm calling on the Inspector Willie Foley, Justice Yusuf Kaba, Justice Nami, that the peace of our country is currently in your hand and attempt to push us to the wall that we cannot pass through war. We turn around and facing you guys that are pushing us to the wall.
Let me ask you this question before I let you go. Your candidate is from the ruling CDC, isn't so?
Independent candidate, his party is listed number 11 years, not for a voting CDC.
Did he? Did he? Hello. Let me ask you, sir. Did he win the CDC primaries in District 11?
Not even contest for CDC primaries, that's why it's an independent candidate. He is not on the CDC ticket that the 12
Who's the CDC candidate in District 11?
CDC candidate is James Akwe Garawu, who is being supported by MacArthur Hilton, the deputy director for technical services and water and sewer.
But that crime there. You say a crime?
It's not a crime. But what we are saying is that let there be a level playing field and we all can move to the process and the will of the people.
Okay. Thank you very much, my brother. I wish you people all the best. Hope we can bear in mind maintaining the peace.
You are one of the generals that we really respect. I'm the Secretary General for the campaign team of the Thomas Memento will remain on bending until the right thing is done.
Thank you. He reminds me about poker robots. He said, we remain on bending, on ending, on wavering. Let me take a few calls to go to our guests here on the show. Good evening.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Good evening. Let's hear you.
Ali Kamara calling from District 15, Lokintan.
Ali, go ahead.
Yeah, Sheku, thank you very much for the topic on the discussion. You know what, in my mind, for District 11, for me, I want everybody to hold their peace because we went to 14-year war. We don't want no problem. We want everything to be all right so we can move our democracy far. Whatsoever condition we're going through, the law is a law. If the court speaks the man, he can't run, they do the cabinet, the guy from Lofa, and in Samoka, he loses his time. Then the better too, so we can go through it. No, sometimes the thing you're wishing for, maybe different person will come and do it for them more. So I just wish. And secondly, I just come to the LEC Benin. I want the government to please put their feet down and talk to LEC. You know, President we are to lose the election, to win the election, what kind of critical time we in? With those kind of problems coming that today now on new or okay FM. I heard that the President we are the government has found it right.
Bala, man. Stop, man.
The broad document we are reading it.
No, I'm not too sure. I cannot confirm nor deny, but I'm not too sure.
Why do two?
Okay, we'll find out that. Let me take this person here. Hello.
My name is Mobisa from Yukuta.
Momo, go ahead.
Yeah, my concern has been drawn to this about the system
in the law. Why would the Liberian people don't want to respect the law? You see, they say the fish can always get racking from the head. You see, citizens getting in the street challenging the Supreme Court. It's because of the way the government took the law, how they do it to the people, the citizens look at it that there is no law. Why would citizens challenge the Supreme Court, which is a large decision making thing? Citizens, Supreme Court, come down with ruling, they say no. Because they saw from the beginning how the identical government that in power, they use the Supreme Court of this country here. That's why I get a citizen guarantee to start challenging Supreme Court. But that Supreme Court decision is not going to ask. We look at with Janeke, we look at with Brian Samuka, he really wasted resources, he wants Supreme Court thing that is up. I mean, man, we need to pray for the country. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. That is how it is. We're going to take a break, and then we usher in our guest. We are waiting the arrival of our next guest, who's going to be here shortly. Like he said, we're going to take a very short break now, and then we'll return. You listen to us. We're going to be having a very important discussion here, and two individuals. One is from the government, another is from the opposition bloc. We want to know, and they're going to give us their very reasons why they think there are two candidates should be elected or re-elected to lead this country for the next 6 years or for the 6 years. And so they're going to be here with us. Firstly, we're taking a break. My name is Sekou, and I'm Sekou Sharif. Oh, yes. Someone said to me, Sekou, this song you played when we were young boys in the 80s. It is the song we used to dance to when we were drinking our beer. When men were boys. Yeah, my man there in Kakata is someone, it reminds me, right, Bobby? Oh, yes. And the man Kutu, I can remember when we were young, with the ball head. Yeah, Kutu used to be Oh, hell. When he's dancing the song. Okay, folks. Shortly awaiting the arrival of Daniel Sano, and we kickstart the conversation. We already have with us our guest from the Coalition for Democratic Change, CDC for short. He's the community engagement strategist. He's here already with us. Roger, let's have discussion. Let's disagree to agree, but we should not go back to the butchers. Maintaining the peace is everybody's business. Opposition, imposition, whosoever. We all need to maintain the peace of our country, Liberia. To our people there in Bokonjile, in the Gibi area, other parts of Mount Gibi, other parts of Liberia, let us maintain the peace. They should not come to you and say, do this. We need not to go back to the butchers. Oh, yes. We're going to be having a very important discussion here. Believe in me. Okay, one of my guests is already here as he's properly seated. Let me introduce him and allow him to introduce himself. Let me say good evening to you, sir, and welcome. You could just come close to the microphone so we'll get you very clear. Good evening and welcome to Issues of Today on Voice of Liberia.
I say thank you again for having me in the studio and also to your listening audience. I'm happy to be here today.
Okay, sir, you want to give us your full name? Look at the boss, enjoy the music. Your full name, your position, and give us a little information about yourself.
Well, I've been a founding member of the CDC. We started this political organization or movement or whatever you want to call it, revolution.
Hmm.
Uh, name is Rachel Yuri, but I'm known as Blow J Choppy Charlie. That's my name. So currently the community engagement strategy for the CDC. I have served in other capacity in the CDC in the past. I was once a national director for policy and communications, and I served in different roles within the CDC. I've been very active. Uh, and that's just a little bit about myself when it comes to the political life. But I'm Liberian citizen, born and raised here. Had a chance to take a break out of here during those violent years that some of those who are seeking power now wage on this country. And I've always come back to always participate in these processes.
You're back in your country. How do you feel?
Well, I'm no stranger here. I practically like live here, got a house and everything here, so I'm always here. So this place is no strange place to me. But the question itself demands some answers
Mm.
because if one who can be honest with himself today, examine the contour of development in this country, one has to be reasonable enough to admit that under His Excellency President George Manuia, this country has shifted. There is a paradigm shift in forward development progress. So we are excited for the kind of work that's being done in the country by the president and the government. You know, development is a very painful exercise. Development is not sweet, especially at these embryo stages. Liberia should not be feeling the pinch of development at this stage if we have had good governance in the past. But the lack of good governance over the more than century since 1847 has brought Liberia to a painful reality now that we're trying to move the country forward and people are feeling the pinch of early development. But it's always, if you study the world, you study political governing all over the country, you study social movement, you study even advanced society, you will really understand that development is a very, very painful exercise. Some people houses gonna be broken down in order for roads to move through the community. Some people will have to struggle uh, because job will be a little bit squeezed in because of the competing priority and the small financial envelope that the government met in the cover when they took over. Practically, the country was broke, no money. Government had to start from scratch. And so we see that the president has been able to not just manage the small envelope space, but the president has also ballooned the financial space of the government, where in fact revenue has increased, showing good government accountability. The fact that we have more revenue than the past, it shows accountability, it shows improved governance, and then even the budget itself has improved. It's larger than the past. Again, it shows some level of accountability and some level of transparency and some level of progress for the country. But that is not satisfactory to this president. I know, and he's a man to do more than what he's doing now. But that's the country we have. We have to deal with what is available, and that's why we're making a case to Liberians that we have to continue the progress that this president has already initiated. Very, very different, and things that have never happened since this country's birth. We are seeing it happening now, and it's mind blowing when people try to and argue that they want us in Liberia. I challenge anybody to build a paradigm in 6 years. That can never happen in any country in this globe.
Okay, as we will have you people to talk more about some of the things your government has done and also some of the reasons why you think the government should be re-elected when we should have been joined by Daniel Sandu. And I just want you to let the public know, like you've done, as to who you are, your various positions you've served, like you've mentioned. I think it's very important, and we hope that Daniel can just arrive shortly, so we'll have him to do same as we move. But you're gonna be along with Daniel Sano of the Liberty Party. In extension, he supports a Unity Party, mind you, because they into a marriage. And so, in short, it is the candidature of Ambassador Boaka he supports. And so he's going to be here sitting along with you to support the candidature of Ambassador Boaka, giving us reasons why Liberians should elect Ambassador Boaka. Why are you going to be here telling us what you've started um, telling us about some of the things? But even though we don't want you to go into in depth with it, because it will be unfair when we have you now to, even though it is not your fault, because but let me just start to tell you some of the rules we're going to have as he comes in. Then we'll also let him know we're going to be looking at few areas, not just the entire thing, because we don't have enough of time. We'll be looking at governance, we'll be looking at development, we'll be looking at security, because they are some of the major areas under the government. When we talk about security, also we want to talk about the rule of law in our country, how it is. We're going to be talking about that as well, and making references to some of the things that we think will be very important to our discussion. And this program is also live on Voice of Liberia in Kakata, Marigibi County, because we have a branch there, and the frequency is 89.7, and it's hitting towards Banga, other parts of the country, and also we also live from Central Town on 104.1. So it's going to be something very important for those of you listening or you just joining us. We want to say thank you, and we will shortly start as we see the arrival, which I'm being told he's making his way upstairs, so that we can have the conversation. Like I said, looking at governance, development, security, and out of the rule of law uh, in the four areas, what so much the government has done, and we'll also get your message because it is campaign period. We'll let you to tell the Liberian people as to what is it the CDC government has that she wants to get re-election, that she wants to continue to do. What is it that she has not been able to do in the 6 years that she thinks if she's given the power this time around, she'll be able to do them? And looking at how the citizens, how they responding to the workings of the government, how they think, what the government has done, and how they see, the workings of the government, which is going to be very, very important. We also look at the opposition. There has been lots of things coming from the opposition, mind you, like the confection that was being made by the vice chancellor. Bureau. Hope my producers will have these things where Senator Kuhn, now the vice running mate to Ambassador Boakai, said by 2017 he couldn't have supported the candidature of Ambassador Boakai, and also you listen to Prince Johnson of recent. There are lots of things coming. Daniel Sando will tell us more about that. My producers hope you guys can collect um, some of the recordings and we can have them. Yes, yeah, right on the show. So Daniel Sando has arrived. Yeah, so it's good. Very two, intelligent young people of our country. Uh, they are the movers and shakers of this country. Daniel, no time to waste. Let me say good evening to you, my brother.
Catch my breath.
Yeah, you may also. Yeah, but man. So I just need to run you now. So, people, how you faring, Daniel?
Well, I'm doing good.
Shut his
And,
microphone. Mm,
I'm doing good.
yes.
Okay.
No. Very good.
Yes.
Mm,
I'm doing good. And sorry for being a couple of minutes late.
Mm.
We are always between very busy schedule. You know, the campaign
so,
is kind of auto pause like, so we try to be in many places at the same time.
Mm.
I, but how be it?
Mm.
It's a pleasure for me to be here. On an invitation for you, so that we can talk about our own perspective
Mm.
about what would have thought our country would have been after 6 years of the George Weah presidency, and why we stand to be very unapologetic about our call for the Liberian people to dismiss Mr. Weah because of his downright underperformance or underperformances, if you may.
Mm.
We do believe that our country is challenged in many aspects, ranging from leadership to governance and the application of rule of law, infrastructure development. And there's no room for excuses. So when you are given an opportunity to even become community chairman,
Mm.
the expectation our people hold are very high. So we cannot shy away from any opportunity and having afforded us to discuss this issue
Mm.
because it borders on the future of our country. I want to prepare the country that delivers on the dividend of democracy for my children, and I'm very passionate about that. It is not about anybody who trying to seek job. It's not about anybody who trying to seek favor from anybody. For us, it's a patriotic and nationalistic duty that we hold so dear to our country that we should offer our people the best that leadership has to offer, especially when it comes to the dividend of democracy.
So, Daniel, we're going to be looking at four areas, like I've mentioned, but it's very important to also do once you've arrived. We're going to be looking at governance, looking at development, looking at security, and that of the rule of law. On our discussion tonight, we want to know from the government end and also from the opposition as we move ahead, and also afford you people the opportunity to give us your various platforms of your various institutions as to, uh, giving us reasons why you should have re-election or election of someone in the presidency. So we're going to start with the government, and we're going to start with governance. I'm going to go to my brother Blue J. The government, His Excellency President George Weah, has been in power for the past 5 years, running into his 6 years for the first term. In terms of governance, the time we're going to allot time to you people. Just so let me set the rules. When we gave you the time, you please need to allow your colleagues to flow until we can reach a point and ask you, you know, at a separate point, so we can allow the people that are listening will get us clear. And maybe he's saying something you want to just cancel, react to it. You just take notes and everything, so we'll move ahead. But we'll give you a lot of time to you people The very first time we're going to give you 5 minutes. The time is 20 minutes past 7. In terms of governance, what do you think the president has done in terms of governance of this country?
Okay, again, let me say thank you, Speaker, and to your management staff
Mm,
for giving us the opportunity. I'd like to begin by stating on the comment I heard from our friend
mm,
Daniel Sano when he began to speak. He said he thought, or they thought, that the president would have done A, B, C, D. That perceptions
mm,
is the one that creates a kind of narrow or called tunnel vision mindset of what government should be delivering. Because your thought process is not what government is supposed to be doing. And so when one forms a kind of narrow thought process, and they begin to see government in a dark way. But the reality here is that government has obligations. And I think when we want to critique government, we have to critique government based on government obligations, not what we think government is supposed to be doing. And so what we have seen this government doing since it came to power is one of the most important things. And we have to understand these topics that we are discussing
mm,
intersects.
mm.
So when we talk about governance, one of the most important things coming from a 12 years government that was struggling and coming from the drawdown of own mail, and one of the most critical things that any government needed to do in terms of governance was to maintain the peace of the country. And we are standing here today with a peaceful country talking about elections, give this president a heads up that he has performed excellently in that area of governance. And then we also talking about the management of the state. The peace is a different aspect than the management of the state in terms of government itself functioning.
Mm.
We still have a very functioning government in the country. A lot of people, again, based on their own dark perception, said that the George Weah presidency will see Liberia in chaos, ministry agency will not be running properly. The government is still running very effectively. In fact, these elections we are holding is being sponsored by the Liberian government. I'll tell you the effectiveness of the government running. So governance. And then we also talk about the civil servant in terms of the government owned bureaucracy,
Mm.
where this government came to power and met a very large civil servant as opposed to to what the standard bearer, Mr. Bwaka of the Unity Party
Mm.
said they was going to do when they took over the downsized government, instead of right sized government. But what the artist was doing was removing people that did not share the political values at the civil servant level, which is wrong. The political power of the government has no right, has no legal basis to remove civil servants from the office because civil servants are protected by certain law. So governance, good governance, we saw this president come to power and respecting the governance process by allowing those civil servants who were from the past government, though they were not members of the CDC, but maintain their job, respect them, and protect them. When you're talking about civil servants. And so you have almost 60,000 person plus on government payroll that this government maintained, and we're just able to hire just a little bit more of new people in the government payroll. So in terms of governance, again, there we see the government performing. And one of the also important things in governance is the process of accountability. Accountability. And what we have seen
Mm.
is that this government, despite the same revenue sources that the previous government had, Joseph Barker had, the same revenue sources this government came to power and met. But the difference is that good governance saw, and we are testament to that, that this government was able to raise more revenue from the same government sources, whereby the past government could not even raise more revenue from the same source because there was a lack of accountability and there was a lack of transparency. And so good governance, again, this government has performed better than Mr. Joseph Boakai 12 years fair
But he did
experiment.
not serve as president.
Well, he was an agent of that government.
Mm.
The vice president is a very powerful man. He has a lot of power. His influence. He has. I mean, the vice president to suggest that a vice president is just a sit down president. I don't know why it's in the Constitution. Why are we paying him money? Why are we giving him free? Why are we paying his salary? his security, his housing, just to sit down and
Thank you.
sleep.
Your 5 minutes has expired. Let me go to Daniel Sando. Daniel, the time is 25 past 7, and you have 5 minutes to go looking at governance. What do you think this government has done in terms of governance in this country? Has it reached to the level in which you people think it should have been?
Well, thank you, Sekou. But just because I would like to make reference to him, what's his full name? I didn't get it because I heard he made introduction with two
Blow
names.
J, just say Blow J.
I just like to be formed.
Blow
I
J.
mean, yeah,
That's
just
his name,
the
Blow
Blow
J.
So
Mm,
I see a lot of contradiction, and he tried to tiptoes around the question you ask him about
mm,
governance,
mm,
because for our people who are listening to us,
mm,
governance is basically how is the act or manner in which you govern a country, right?
mm.
So somebody who listens to you, so let's talk about governance in the first place. I have limited time, so when you talk about governance, there are basic facets that come to mind. The first is leadership. Leadership, right? Transparency, integrity, and accountability. When these four factors are available, then you move towards good governance. Mr. Weah was inaugurated in 2018 January. Inherited a system that was well structured to ensure that the Liberian state can survive beyond any democratic transition. I'm saying so because, unlike Mr. Salif, who inherited the country at a point when nothing was existing, Mr. Weah inherited a country of over five that were running a budget of 570 million. He inherited a civil service that has been well structured and professionalized. He inherited a security sector, right?
Mm.
That has been given credit to for providing security for the nation's first post-conflict election, 2017, right? So people should not make it to appear like Mr. Weah became president of Liberia when everything was in oblivion. It is not
No,
true.
by that time, you had all meal.
Give me a chance. Give me a chance. Give me the chance.
No, you make a mention, and I just need to, maybe
Yes,
remind you of it.
you have to understand that Omri had departed before we had the election. I'm saying to you that this is the country that Mr. Weah inherited. I'm trying to create an imagery because when my brother spoke, he made it to appear. So Weah became president in 2005 when we had war faction all over the place. There was disarmament, reintegration. That is not the case. The Salif administration absorbed all of the shock, set the country on par. Mind you,
Mm.
before the 2005 elections, Liberia was considered a pariah state, where our passport in the international cycle was like a stigma. He knows about it, right? So to come back today and say that, oh, the man became president and everything was okay and this and that, that is not true. That is not true. So accountability, integrity, transparency, and leadership. Where do we see these these visible on Mr. Weah leadership? The first thing Mr. Weah, as president of the country, has failed to exercise leadership. Leadership from the context as a student of leadership and governance is about taking responsibility, right? Stepping up to the challenge and seeking ways to address it. All Liberians and Liberia has witnessed on George Weah for the last 5 years and 8 months, one excuse after the other. If you ask Mr. Weah what happened to LEC, oh, they said the administration they didn't do this, so we didn't do this. Why haven't you fought corruption? Accountability. They will tell you, say, oh, but MP were corrupt during any time. So they have not stood up to that challenge. We talk about accountability in the leadership structure of our country, in the governance aspect of our country. How many person has the George Weah government even taken to court for corruption? Even in the president's office, where this lady, one Kruma,
The head of the National Housing Authority was being taken to court.
you need to tell me what was the outcome of that case. You need to tell me. All of,
But you said no one has been
all of
taken
the,
to court.
listen to me, when you go to court, there has to be finality, right?
So that means someone has been taken to court.
It's simple. It is not just about taking somebody to court, right? So who has been prosecuted? All of the corrupt cases, right? There are other reports on the 25 million mobile exercise that was presided over by the finance minister, very unprecedentedly, right?
Your 30 minutes, I mean,
So,
sorry,
so,
your 5 minutes.
so accountability,
Your 5 minutes has expired.
let me conclude. Accountability, transparency, integrity, and all of these facet of good governance have been very elusive on Georgia. So, as far as we're concerned, governance has taken a nosedive on Georgia. It's very poor at governance.
Do you think, I gave you 2 meanings, do you think what he said is something that should be, accepted by you, that there's a leadership, deficit where you don't have the leader doing what he should do, and integrity where you have a lot of things happening and you don't have anything coming from the leadership of the president?
I think it's comical when one listens to kind of critique coming from the opposition, especially the Unity Party. Let's examine the critique here. At one point, the brother says he makes a comparison of the CDC government and the past government to show that George Weah is not performing. At one point, he does a comparative analysis. At the same time, he's criticizing or canceling other argument by saying that CDC should not make a comparative analysis about the governance. You see what we call cognitive dissonance right there. You want to use this argument against the CDC, but the same argument should not be used against you. So where do we really sit? How do we really view this thing? And that's the problem, like I said on the very initial. This is the problem with the opposition, we call duality of conscience in the reasoning. They are not addressing facts. They are not addressing obligations of government, but rather they are addressing their own mentality. Now, let me quickly answer some of these misconceptions. Or you're talking about Ellen Johnson selling or the Unity Party came to power. Joseph Boga came to power when the country was all, and they fixed the country. Unity Party came to power on a peaceful arrangement when we had elections. They did not create the peace. We had Judah Bryan's interim government when the United Nations returned to Liberia. In fact, the World Bank returned to Liberia under Judah Bryan's interim administration when they signed the World Bank country agreement with Liberia to give Liberia aid. All these things were done under the interim government. Now, if you have peaceful elections, Liberia will get a waiver, Liberia will get this, Liberia will get that. So this kind of reasoning being offered here has to be smashed and trashed. It has no place.
Okay, 2 minutes has expired. Let me go to Daniel, then we'll move on and we get him somewhere. Daniel, there's something of you, the opposition, that you don't want to agree about. Do you agree to the sources or all of the good things within the Unity Party and also all of the bad things that happen in the Unity Party that could be placed to the person which you're supporting now, Ambassador Waka?
So I did mention my intro what governance is like, right? And one component of governance, I talk about leadership, and I want to say to you that leadership is about taking responsibility, right? What the president said, he said to you in your last annual message, that corruption was a challenge for the government, right? That is a problem for the government. She said
in the Unity Party government.
President said he said it in her last annual message. And I'm saying it.
Where the person which
I got 2 minutes. I got 2 minutes.
I will give you asking questions to you watching,
okay,
right?
No problem.
So where the person in which you support now, Ambassador Bwaka, served as vice president?
So I'm saying to you that President Sadi took responsibility of that challenge. She didn't shift it to say, oh, Julie Bryan government didn't do it. She said corruption has been a problem from the government.
So that means Ambassador Bwaka was also part of it, that they did not succeed in fighting corruption.
What if the leader of the government says that corruption was a problem for her government? That is to say, leadership is being exhibited, right? And so what we expect in the democratic transition is that when Mr. Weah stepped in the footprint of President Sadi to become president, the fight against corruption should not be done, should not be overlooked. It should not be politicized.
So in short, right? That means such a problem was being created by the very person that wants to be president of this country.
It is not a problem. You are more interested in shifting blame.
No,
I said to you, I got 2 minutes. Let me speak to Miguel Demes. He made a lot of false claims, which I want to clarify.
Go ahead.
So I wish you can give him the time.
I'll give you the time.
The first thing he said, I see you didn't interrupt him to say that. The Unity Party might handle 6% by downsizing them. That is not true. Liberia had gone through the period of serious conflict. The civil service of the country was fractionalized. Even the armed forces became fractionalized. So to run an effective government, how could you run that government of a security sector that was fractionalized by the warring faction? It's only good that you restructure the system.
During your first tenure.
But what the Senate administration did for the civil servant. The least person in government was making $25 when President Sali became president. As at the time she left the presidency in 2018, right? The least person was making $175. Today, what did we government do? They introduced and implemented a bookers harmonization policy that witnessed the drastic decrease in the earnings of civil servants. That's why today the government is troubled. Because if you were to carry the battle box at almost all ministries and agencies of government, the first group of people that be willing to vote against George Weah are the civil servant. Somebody was
So Daniel, before I go to Blue Jay, and let me take you back. Do you people agree to all of the good workings of the past administration and all of the bad things that happened in the past administration?
Second, when you say all of the bad things, I'm not thinking like you. You have to be specific because you're talking to an intelligent person.
Okay, so let's talk about corruption.
Yeah, let's talk about corruption.
The Unity Party could not fight corruption, and made sense of what you mentioned that Ellen said. All at a point in time, she said, corruption was a vampire.
Yeah,
meaning that they could not do anything about it.
Not that they could not do anything because you know very well as a journalist, you were here on the ruling party chairperson, the Speaker of the National Legislature, the chairperson of the ruling party, right? Executive of the ruling party in the legislature and in government were handcuffed and dragged to court on account of the global witness indictment. The question we should be asking George Weah and his supporters today: what has become of people who were accused in the GSC report of squandering
the son of Ellen was being dragged to.
I'm not asking you to play the devil's advocate. I'm giving you specific instances.
No, I'm also
let me let my thought. You're not a debater, right? I have a debater here.
I'm the one interviewing.
Let me tell my thought. So the question we should be asking the CDC people: what has become of the mob exercise? The GSC indicted the government that monies are unaccounted for. Mind you, GSC went to all of the money exchangers that were listed in the report who Samuel Toure said they received money. And those money exchangers said they didn't receive a penny. Today, who is Samuel Toure? He still enjoys the confidence of the president. Right? Look at how Bill Tiawe, Nathaniel Mageo, and the Solicitor General brought disgrace to the country when they had to be sanctioned by the U.S. government for what?
Are they the only people that have been sanctioned by the U.S. government?
You have to tell me who was sanctioned on editor of your own Liberia. You have to tell me. Look, let's balance the conversation here. We have a national conversation.
Hello. Yeah. Before I go to the next, have you not had one of the persons that you are in bed with, Senator Prince Johnson, being sanctioned by the same U.S. government?
So I'm saying to you, if the U.S. government sanctions, it's not about who the people support, right? They have a democratic right.
No, you want to make reference to names of people that support the CDC.
Sekou, I'm very holistic in my conversation here. That's why I didn't even call names.
No, you call names.
Listen to me. There are people.
Daniel, you call names.
Listen to me. There are people. You're not going to allow us to escape the real issue. The question I'm asking you here: when these officials of government were sanctioned by the U.S. government, what did George Weah say to the Liberian people?
Do you agree?
No, what did he say?
Do you agree?
If you tell me what he said to the Liberian people,
no, it's not about me telling you.
So give me the chance to say to them now.
Do you agree?
Okay, I will not answer you until I say what he said to the Liberian people.
You were talking. Yeah. Do you agree that you are in bed with someone that has been sanctioned?
I'm not going to who is there with who, right?
Oh, so you think
because it's not a bad thing? Listen to me, Sekou. I'm not going to allow you to trivialize this conversation.
No, it's not about.
You try to trivialize it.
You brought up a sanction.
So I'm saying to you, when these officials were sanctioned by the U.S. government, what did George Weah tell the Liberian public? That his government would have ensured that these people are prosecuted. Today, what becomes of them? They assume that Prince Johnson, who support Joseph Boakai, as a result of the constitutional right, is supporting Boakai. He doesn't support George Weah any longer. He's not the microphone.
No, thank you. It's overly more.
Yeah. So I'm not hearing myself through the
go ahead.
Through the earpiece.
Okay.
So let's assume that Prince Johnson supports Ambassador Baka, which is the democratic right. Who right is it to prosecute someone like Prince Johnson? Is it Ambassador Baka right? It is Ambassador George Weah obligation to ensure that those who are sanctioned by the U.S. government are prosecuted. And that's the promise he made to the Liberian people. Few days after these people were sanctioned, disgracefully, they put our nation on the international map for the wrong reason.
Okay.
Mr. Weah, the president of the country, said his government will ensure that these people are prosecuted. The question I'm asking,
When did he say so? No, listen. You said President Weah said those of the people that were sanctioned, they will be prosecuted.
of course, he even went
At
further.
one point in time,
He
he
even
said so.
went further. He even went further to say that his government will engage the U.S. State Department so it will supply the Liberian government with all of the basic facts that led to these people being
So has
sanctioned.
it been proven that they've supported or gave whatsoever?
I'm not a spokesperson for the government.
Okay, let me go to.
I come here asking you,
Uh.
what has the president done? What has the government done to ensure that these people who brought disgrace, shame to the integrity of our country are prosecuted? Because mind you, America is Liberia's greatest international ally. What has the Weah government done?
Bloody, what do you make of the issue where he mentioned about those of the people in the government or support the government that he mentioned have been sanctioned and using it as some of the reasons that Liberia should not take the government serious? Looking at Senator Prince Johnson as well, who has been sanctioned, and he's supporting the candidature of Ambassador Joseph Walker.
Well, again, there's a shameful display of trickery and deception by the Unity Party people. Again, we want to carefully examine the myth, or I don't know, it's a utopia that these people live in. Here is Daniel Sano making an argument about leadership. And in his leadership argument, he says, Josh, we as a leader, has not taken decision against people who are sanctioned. He names those people. But at the same time, where is Joseph Baka's leadership? He doesn't have to be the president to persecute people. Where is Joseph Baka's leadership that allows sanctioned president to be on his campaign committee and even making the vice president? Where's the leadership?
No, he's not a vice president.
No, I said it's a sanctioned
recommended.
president making a vice president for Joseph Baka. Where is leadership? Now he's talking about leadership. He said a leader is supposed to act. So if Joseph Baka cannot lead, he has failed to take this action. It's about leadership. That's his argument, leadership. Then in the same vein, he says, the CDC government is always blaming the past. And the past they didn't do this, and so CDC doesn't do that. But he comes and say, those people who were accused, he's blaming the CDC government for the failure of Joseph Baka Unity Party to prosecute official in their government.
And why is it
putting that blame on the CDC?
I think this is one of the things the government or the CDC has not done, which is going to haunt her in many years to come. Why didn't your government audit the government that they took over from to know what did they do, how they spend the resources of the country, and how much they receive? And yesterday we yet to see CDC to tell us how much did they take over from.
No, it has been stated many times. I don't know why people continue to shy from this reality. The president himself, on his first annual message, stated that the government was broke. The past government
being broke does not in any way make us to understand how much did they take over from.
Yeah. I'm coming to that. The finance minister has made that point many times. The past government itself has admitted
how much the government took over.
How
much it saw in a reserve?
Reserve has $150 million, but that's not operating business. So it means no money was there. The actual money that the finance minister has made a case was around $80 million for government to operate.
80 million?
Yes.
So why didn't the government say that when they took over?
The government has said that repeatedly. That's what I'm saying. The problem here is that we're having a lot of noise and we're trying to live in an echo chamber where those who have failed for 12 years, unable to govern, believe that making a lot of noise, repetition, and look, let's understand the way this country has been ran for over 12 years. Most of the bureaucracy, the engine of the government bureaucracy was managed by the Unity Party, even the media, everything else. So the CDC actually had a disadvantage in taking power. A lot of work had to be done. And government has competing priority. So the government had to look at the critical issues that suffer the citizen instead of playing all these propaganda games. So this issue was clarified, but yet
One,
those who
one
are
of the
government.
things Daniel mentioned, and I want you to prove him wrong if your government has been able to do it. Why is it people are being, into corrupt activities? And one would say, in a simple American term, broad is stealing. Nothing the government has done about it.
I disagree with that. The problem is that I think the argument from the people of the United Party government and those who are criticizing the government, they are used to a big man or non-democratic leadership in Liberia for over a century. George, we are being a democratic government who believe in the separation of power. It's now responsible for the courts. George Weah does not run the courts.
He controls the
No.
executive. He
Yeah.
appoints people
Yeah, but
and
the
they work at
executive,
the way of pleasure of him.
yeah, the job of the
So he
executive.
has the right whenever audit is being conducted.
Yeah, but
And
listen
it
to
is
this.
proven that someone is
No,
doing
no,
today,
it
they
is
should be
not proven.
suspended.
It is not proven. George Weah is not going to act on impulse because somebody was accused, and then going to start acting against that person. That's not democratic. Liberia has
They
suffered from this very tendency.
embattle LACC boss.
So
But no, let me say something.
let me
They
get into
embattle
something.
LACC boss.
Uh-huh.
Nothing.
Yeah.
He did an audit, indicted the current Minister of Agriculture and the likes of other people, and he presented that audit report to the president. When they had a meeting in Nimatin Banga for the cabinet retreat, that was the end of his service in government. Is it that this government is serious to fight corruption?
No, that was not necessary. You see, look, the problem we have in Liberia, like I said, we are not used to this kind of democratic behavior practices. So, strangely enough, under the George Weah presidency, we are seeing all these debates take place.
But what's the issue about democratic issue?
No,
when you've been given
in the
pieces
past,
of evidence,
no.
what is the function of LACC?
I come in and say that I have this fact, I will have this evidence that somebody has committed a crime. It's not sufficient to act against that person unless it has undergone rigorous competent judicial process. It's only after a competent, rigorous judicial process where guilt has been adduced, then actions can be taken.
Then why should you establish the LACC?
No, the LACC has its function. The LACC is not a court. And so what is happening here, because Liberians are used to past government abuses or authoritarian actions by president, they expect George Weah to engage in the same
So why
behavior.
didn't the
And
president
Weah is
accept?
saying,
Hello,
no,
why didn't the
I'm
president?
not going to be a dictator. I'm not going to be authoritarian. I will allow the due process to take place. And we are uncomfortable with the due process. That's
Blue Jay,
why
didn't the president accept that report and forward it to the
it's
Ministry
not the
of Justice?
president's
Hello,
job.
hello,
It's not the president's job.
hello, Blue Jay.
Yeah.
This is how it works. You know, we all understand when the reports come up, they send it to the president's office, go to the Ministry of Justice, and then onward, because the Ministry of Justice has the legal power, you got the Solicitor General to go to court. Why didn't the president or the likes of the people in the government send the report to the court so that the people like the agriculture minister and other people that are involved to go to court and facing the law?
These issues, and one can make this argument from different points, right? One could equally argue the very legislature who has been dominated by the very United Party opposition in terms of the lawmakers, has a responsibility and obligation. Government is not just by the individual. And again, this is what we're trying to say. What Mr. Weah is doing for the first time in Liberia history is very uncomfortable to most people because it's not exerting what we call the imperial presidency. He's not using that imperial president to bulldoze his way and make things happen. So he's allowing the system of government to function. And look, it takes a long time for countries to reach to that level of systemic.
So do you agree that the government has failed in the fight against corruption, like the way Unity Party failed?
No, the government has not failed because it's an ongoing process. At least it's an ongoing. At least right now, look, Liberia right now for the first time in the history of this country, we can celebrate that some powerful people have been brought down by government. Look,
this government?
Yes, right
who
now,
are the powerful people?
Right now, we have a case with a former justice minister, Chief Justice, somebody who are saying most of the most powerful position in this country. She has gone behind bars for the first time in the history of this country. A very powerful person has gone behind bars. the president is demystifying the mentality that
Okay.
powerful, that government is beyond the reach of powerful.
Okay.
But it has to go through the due process of law.
Okay.
It has to undergo that rigorous judicial process.
So
The
we come
president
back to
himself
our
cannot
5
do
minutes.
that.
We come back to our 5 minutes. At least the both of you allow you people to talk. Let me go to Daniel Sando, and we the time is 10 minutes down to 8 o'clock. Daniel,
Can I
maybe.
make a submission before you go to that?
Yes.
Yes, because there are a lot of inaccurate things he said.
Mhm.
The first thing
But you were the first to start to say them. But just go ahead.
I mean,
Just go. Let me give you 2 minutes to go ahead.
yes, he said opposition has more lawmakers on Capitol Hill. That is not true. The other day, 54 lawmakers endorsed the re-election of George Weah. The CDC.
Mr. Stephen was the onset of this government.
They give me chance.
So you just talk about just
They give me
yesterday.
chance.
I have
Just
to
give
correct
me-
On the
you.
onset
I
of
have to
the
make a correction.
From the onset of the government,
Mhm.
the CDC has controlled the leadership in both houses of the legislature. On the onset of the government, the president has gotten whatever he asked for, right? From the legislature. Even when it became the Shirley Eaton and Igbo Mab loan, people spoke in a very unprecedented tone. They said, even if it comes from the devil, we'll take it. That's the extent to which the president party, the CDC, enjoyed dominance on Capitol Hill. So that is not true. The next thing he said, everything he said, yes, just in the conclusion, is that he failed to tell the audience who person in this government that we are government are prosecuted for corruption. So that means they have prosecuted nobody. I can sit there and tell you who are those people that were dragged to court on allegation of corruption during the leadership of the Unity Party. The next thing I want to demystify is that the people trying to look at the president to be very undemocratic when it comes to the implementation of LDCC recommendation. Before the LDCC indicts an official of government or anybody, they go through the rigorous, right? So when the LDCC reaches a point where they will present a report against you, even the spokesperson of the CDC campaign, Kanyo Bala, conflict of interest. He went and collected money. He would not go all the time. He signed the office and they use the money and this and that. But he's my friend. But I have to say on the
So
radio.
because your friend, you can't talk.
But you know what I said on the radio for?
But you won't go in there.
So no. The other day you were on OK FNI, you were attacking on it, right? The country bigger than anybody. But what I'm saying to you is that the issue with agriculture minister, Councillor Clark Martin presented a report indicting the agriculture minister and her ministry, right? What did the president do? The next thing he started witch hunting Clark Martin. Today, there is a new LDCC law that were enacted as a result of the president anger against Councillor Martin. So today, Martin is just holding on only because the legislature has failed to confirm or to constitute the new board of commissioner at LDCC. So that's the extent to which the president has undermined the fight against corruption. He has not butchers and everybody people.
Let's move on.
So there's no excuse. You cannot
let's
come
move
to give
on.
excuses.
Let's move on to development. Daniel, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. The time is 8 minutes to 8. Let's look at development. Were you to grade this government, be honest, saying things in the country, in 5 minutes, what can you say to the Liberian people about development of which this government has been able to do, or you think has done, or has not been able to do?
What I will give you my perspective.
Mhm.
I will give you my perspective
Yes.
on where Liberia stands in terms of infrastructure development, right? I know for a fact, one credit I will give President Weah is the enactment of a dual citizenship law, right? Even though when he was senator of Mosrada County at the legislature, this law was presented before the plenary of both houses by former Representative Edward Ford, and they stood against it to say that dual citizenship was not needed for Liberia. Today, it is enacted, and Liberians, the blue generation who spend more time abroad can come here. You know, they are Liberian citizens. Who gave President Weah the credit for that? But let me say this to you. In the context of African countries, any government that you see placing emphasis, too much emphasis on the construction of road that is not constructing, that government is stealing money.
You said?
Any government you see placing more emphasis on the construction of road, whereas that government is not really building the road, they are stealing money. I tell you what, the government lied to the public through the Minister of Finance and other official of government, and it took one of the sister radio stations to do an investigation. And through a peer review by people who work at the ministry, they came to challenge the figures and this and that. The government had to come up to apologize to say, oh, there was an oversight, they were misinformed by the Ministry of Public Works. The government boasts of building 600 kilometers of road. That figure was challenged, and the government have retracted to say, oh, they got 235 kilometers of road paved, right? I know this country. I'm not a Monrovia-based politician. I tour this country maybe 2-3 times every year. We go to places. Right now, the entire southeastern region of our country is cut off. I know the president campaign is embarrassed. They want to go to the southeastern region to campaign, but they can't go there because the only way there is to pass through Ivory Coast, right? They will not want to go there. But some kind of way, they try to sweep it on the carpet. So the whole region of the country is cut off. So in terms of road connectivity, we want to hold Mr. Williams to his promises, right? What did he say to us? The pavement of the coastal highway, the coastal corridor was a major promise that he made to us in terms of road connectivity. They say the coastal highway. So by this time, when we are entering the 5-year, 9 months of the government, with 35 days to go to the election, we would have thought that we'll be plying the coastal highway, making the whole another region of the country very accessible. Today, it is a very side state.
Don't you think the government has done well in some other roads they've carried out in the country?
You have to tell me the roads the government has built. You have to tell me.
You don't know any of the roads?
I'm sitting here to say to you that the national government agenda for road connectivity was primarily about the opening of the Southeastern Corridor, because those were one of the inaccessible places in our country. So today, with 5 years, 9 months after those promises were made to the Liberian people, the Southeastern Corridor is non-existent. So what can I say? What can I say? Who took road from Bray Light to Nima?
What about the
pavement of the road? The opening of
major free highway?
Free highway. You know that it was an initiative. That road was being built when the part of government. I said that you don't want to credit Georgia. Even the pools people of Georgia would not credit the government for that road. Because I lived Banana for the last 12 years of my life. I know the difficulty we face there. I know where when I road was beginning to be paid, it was an intervention of a grant from the Japanese government, right? On the Unity Party-led government. The construction only entered the Georgia government, and even at the dedication he gave.
Have you moved around town to see some of the roads this government has built?
We can be blanket. Please point out the roads that the government have built.
No, I'm not here to tell you the roads, and Blojo will tell you.
So that's why he's been before to say, oh, the government have built a road from this place to that place. So I'm saying this to you that in terms of road connectivity, I hold the we are going to the promises we made to the Liberian people. Right, a stone throw away from here, Body Island. Where's Body Island? The place, the famous picture of the president on out in our bush, lifting his hand like this. To say, I remember the statement I did. West Sambatu made. He said, all this while he didn't know that it was so easy to develop a country until Mr. Weah became president. 5 years, 9 months after, Bali Island is in ruin. The RIA is in ruin. It's even a more death trap than it is today than it was when Mr. Weah became president, right? And we can talk about the financial implication of all of these things, because look at the company that they even gave the road. The RIA road to.
Okay.
The company, I come in. But how can you are interrupting me? So every time you interrupt, so add a minute back.
No, I need to be asking you because the
but let me just conclude, right? But they don't know that the Minister of Public Works appeared before the legislature, the plenary librarian specifically, and said that and presented a report in black and white that the company does not have the technical expertise, they are overstretched, and there's a need for intervention.
Okay, let's go to
executive architect.
If you listen to Daniel Sando, he said the government has not done anything much in terms of road, particularly in development. He was being specific about road and
road connectivity.
Road connectivity.
I think Daniel began by saying he was offering his perspective. He said my perspective.
So that means it's not something.
Not facts, not only facts. So one can appreciate that.
I'm close to the microphone.
Yeah. He began by talking about he was going to offer his perspective. His thought process, not facts. And so when people continue to, again, every time he speaks, it's always about his thought process, his perspective, or whatever. It's not about fact.
But what do you make of his perspective?
So his perspective is not born in fact. That's reality, because we see that there are first-time development. I just want to look at even the first-time development of George Weah since 1847. We have never had a road from Banga going towards Lofa County. We've never had a paved Kota road since this country was founded. I'm not talking about a road where Joseph Baka Unity Party went and repaved that was built by previous government and they went and rebuilt. So I just going to give you some very simple example. For the first time in the history of Liberia since 1847, we now have paved Kota road from Ganta going towards Lofa County. For Daniel, he doesn't see that, he's not heard that, he's only trapped in his perspective, which is not born in facts. Again, we see paved road in Nima Belt, right? After Sonny Kole going. For the first time since 1847, never happened in history of Liberia. Never. And then let's even look at Joseph Baka, the man who was running this ticket. Let's look at where he lives right now. He was vice president for 12 years. He presided over millions of dollars, president for his office budget. He failed, even in his own community, to fix road. Look at his own hometown.
Is that the responsibility of the vice president?
Yes, the vice president has a responsibility to ensure that good government occur in the country. It's constitutional. That's why they make him president of the Senate. He doesn't vote, but he influences decision. The vice president has admitted many times that he was the last person to leave the room with Madam Ellen Johnson saying when she was president. He offered advices. The vice president has boasted, and I assume, based on his recent statement, that when he becomes president, if he was to, which he will never be, that he will downsize the government. The same bad policy that the Unity Party implemented when they took power for the first time, Mr. Baka has said when he takes power again, he will kick out people from the government, he will downsize the government. He says he needs a smaller government. He said it is again another deception on the part of the Unity Party.
He said what?
You have a smaller government.
What do you mean?
No, you can be.
So I'm saying that. Yeah.
He said you will. You want to be exact of what he said.
Said you have a small government. He said you have a small government, which means you will reduce the size of government. He said that.
He said where he said it is not important to have maybe the Ministry of Information or some other institutions to be better to reduce. Is what you want to say?
But that's what I'm saying. He said that. That's he said those innocent statement he made. They will reduce the size of government. You will reduce it.
But don't you think it's fair enough? Because at the end of the day, the government has a lot of burden to, cater to some of these things and all of that.
No.
You want to have effective
government, and this is the deception again. Like I say for the people when they were in power, and let's see the contradiction. After Joseph Baka Unity took power for the first time, they reduced the size of government. And they said that the argument they have always made is that the private sector can produce jobs better than government. But let's look at the trick and deception. He came to power, Joseph Baka Unity Party came to power, reduced government, took all the other civil servants of the government, stopped the government with only Unity parties in. But after several years, they bloated the civil servant payroll. They had twice the size of government employees. Did the private sector create government? No, they did not. But now they left government. The argument that the private sector is supposed to create the country and build the country, develop government. Why are they advocating to come back to power? Why can't they use the genius, according to them, in the private sector to build the country? The fact that they are still fighting to come back to power shows the deception that the private sector that they have all cried about is responsible and supposed to build government cannot do that, or either they are incapable of doing that, or they lack the innovation to do those things. So they are now fighting to come back to power. Or we continue to see, and look, before I close on this point, we talk about leadership. Just one more point. Leadership, responsibility. Joseph Baka was responsible for the youth empowerment program during the 12 years of the Salif government. $75 million was put in youth development for 5 years. Joseph Baka fleeced that money. That's why the youth have suffered in this country since around 20.
You're talking about the less privileged people?
I'm not talking about less. The youth empowerment program of the government.
Which one?
It was launched around 2013 by the Unity Party government. 2013. Joseph Baka was in charge of that program. The government gave him that specific program.
What was the name and style of that
youth empowerment program? Joseph Baka, $75 million. Let's do the record.
And he also had a bad leadership record. We're talking about leadership. He made an argument with leadership. That's leadership we're talking about. He failed. During the Samuel Doe government, Joseph Baga managing Ministry of Agriculture again failed. Today, there's no LPMC in Liberia because of Joseph Baga bad management of that
But people
entity.
think that he did well to have.
Where is LPMC today? If he did well, why is it not existing?
But he left from there.
But it broke down.
Was
Because
he the
his
one that
bad
broke
government-
it?
Yes, because he fleeced the LPMC. By the time he left, it was already depreciated. And by the time he left, it just broke down because of his bad leadership. So you're talking about leadership. There's no positive leadership record of this man.
Thank you. Maybe you just want to say one or two things of what he said, then we can move ahead.
Yes, but the young man who represents the CDC has already fallen short of making a persuasive argument.
Why would you say so?
Because
When you yourself you saying something, he saying yes.
yeah, here's the point.
Mhm.
Here's the point, right? He talks about people say the private sector will provide job for the people, right? Let's look at private sector investment or investment in capital initiative. The Unity Party budget for 12 years and the CDC budget for 6 years now. They have had zero investment in capital initiative. To say, for example, as a country, yeah, what we generate and we spend it on goods and services, we take this one and put it on capital venture, right? To say we'll do the one. So that, okay, for example, we invest in the agro sector. So in 5-6 years time, Liberia can become full sufficient. What have they done? Zero. It should not be the one talking about investment in the private sector because his government has shamefully failed to attract zero foreign direct investment. His government, right? All of the buy concession they talk about, they beat the party government, say, oh, they brought buy concession, even though George we are in Drama in the Senate and they added the laws. Today, how come the George we are government has not brought in any new investment? Zero new investment. So, and our quest to oust the we are government out of power is not because we made a sick employment. It's because a buck depends on what happened in government. Look at insecurity, for example.
Daniel,
So are you saying to me that the thousands of Liberians that will line up on voting day to vote against George Weah, you say they're doing so because they want job? They're doing so because, listen to me, Sekou, they're doing so because they want a better society. I open up by saying to you that when people vote for a government, they expect the government to deliver on the dividend of democracy. What about the dividend of democracy? Security, for example. In the social contract, we all know what the social contract entails. I vote for you. You provide my security. The president tells the people, buy your own CCTV camera. What does that imply? The contract has been rendered invalid. Okay? So the man who comes from the CDC should not be talking about investment in the private sector. He shouldn't be talking about it because when Liberian people voted for George Weah, the PAPD, upon which they promised the government mechanism, they said we're going to provide millions of jobs for the young people. Well, where are the jobs? Where are the jobs? So it is shameful for somebody who is on the national committee of the city to say, oh, the United Party will say, oh, private sector will create jobs, but they can't create jobs for themselves.
it would be fair. Let me ask Blow J about some of the things you talked about direct investment. It would be fair enough to ask you, what has the government done in that direction?
You know, let me just begin on this
He's
myth,
not going to tell you anything.
on this myth. And I'm happy that he raised a question about foreign investment brought in. And this is one of the problems that our friends in the Unity Party have, the international welfare mentality. That somebody has to leave from Europe or America to come here and build Liberia. The CDC government is operating what we call domestic resource mobilization strategy.
Okay.
So we are more concerned about Liberians growing their own businesses, Liberian participants. Why is it that Liberians cannot invest in themselves?
How many Liberian businesses? How many Liberian
Let
businesses?
let me just finish because if I walk down the street today, I will see today most of the businesses on the street, small businesses are owned by Liberians, and there are more.
What has been the government support?
And the government is not responsible to give people money to open businesses. Nobody in the world that happened.
To create the environment.
Yes, but the fact is, if you look around your community, you don't have to even need statistics, and nobody can dispute this fact. There are more businesses that have opened since 2017. People open shops. Cool. But one of the problems we have here is that there have been expansion
of the market in Liberia. So, for example, before the George Weah government, we have what I would consider as concentrated markets. Everybody was coming out of Waterside or Bar or Redland or Douala or whatever, or EW Junction. And most of the people who were living and purchased for were living in his real locality. Now we see, if you look on the Route 3 highway, there's massive expansion going on. There's growth. People are constructing houses. People are opening stores. People are opening markets. If you look on the road going to Bombing, people are constructing stores. People are building houses. People are opening. If you look on the Kakata highway, if the economy was not working, these things are evident. Anecdotal analysis. You don't need to go and write a full report. Just look at physical structure being built. If there was no money in the economy, these things will not be there. But what is happening here is that there's an expansion where the economy, I'm not economists here, have called elasticity have occurred in the Liberian economy where the market have dispersed. They're not concentrated again. So before, one man in Wallace market was making all of the money, he was selling a shoe or shirt, but now the man in Duazon is selling a shoe and shirt. The man doesn't have to leave on Duazon to come to Wallace to purchase. So that man at Wallace was making $10 yesterday. The man was coming from
many
Duazon to buy.
times the Ministry of
over there.
Commerce.
So the
There are
economy is
many
growing.
times we've heard the government.
Where are the direct investments?
Which he
The
said they don't
investment.
need. They don't
But I
need.
just told you, investment. Look, and this is the dependency syndrome that Unity Party relies on. Look, Liberia only had international welfare because we came from war, my friend. Before war, there was no international NGO. We were not in a country that was spending over $600 billion every year. And if by miracle Joseph Baka becomes president, we will not come back in this country.
So, but
You need a genius of a president like George Weah. Listen. Let me end. You need a genius of a president like George Weah to keep the country going because you don't have ideas of government. You are depending on foreigners to come and develop your country. And we are saying we want Liberians to own the country. It's going to take some time. Yes, it's going to be a painful exercise. We see Ghana development is not a miracle happening overnight. It's going to take some time. Ghana, Nigeria, all these countries, national own this country, they are developing Rwanda. It took some time. Rwanda didn't get over there in 5 years. Liberia is not going to get there by miracle. The international welfare dependency syndrome will not build Liberia. We saw that 12 years, we left the country vulnerable, and we are trying to fix this country.
So by virtue of that response, he validated my second point that the CDC government has failed to attract zero investment.
We are attracting. I'm telling you that we're not depending on that to develop our country.
I'm coming. When the moderator asks you specifically, what are some of the foreign investment your government has attracted? For example, in the extractive industry in Liberia, and you fall short as somebody who is representing your party. That means to say my point is validated.
Oh, let me respond to that quickly.
No. Just have it done.
Let me conclude. So he has validated my second point. But I think what is even more disgusting is the fact that he says some things about the economy that cannot be verified, that have no empirical data. He say the economy is performing and this and that. Let me just say this to you, right? Anybody who is listening to you in this country will tell you that the cost of living have doubled since we have become president. How do you know that? Look at the dependency syndrome in our country. Sego Sherry runs a radio station, he's manager of the radio station. Given how our society is poverty stricken, the dependency ratio is that about 10 to 15% rely on Sego for survival, right? You got to provide school fees, you got to do everything. Somebody takes over the radio station, and if Sego were making 1,005 and decide to slash your salary into 2 and give you 700 or 500, that is just to say to you, right, that they have created, by virtue of that single decision, they have created more problem for your family.
But Daniel, the Minister of Finance has said this over and again, and you know, there's no African country can operate without the help of the IMF. And one of the requests that came from the IMF, they were to do what they did in terms of the harmonization.
So you see the point? You see the point?
If that could be your Unity Party government, you could have done it.
No. The first thing, I didn't work with the Unity Party government.
No, you support the Unity Party
I
government. I'm
supported.
just
No,
putting it
listen
in
to
the
me now.
context of your government.
Listen to me. In the first place, if we want to delve into the problem that led us to the harmonization, they will know where they went wrong. Because when they assumed the leadership of the country, we are inaugurated in 2018, what did they do? They used the civil service as a recruitment ground for incompetent citizens. They went on to blot the payroll of the civil service. When you blot the payroll, that is to say, you put plenty of people there, you don't have the money to pay them every month, it became a problem. There came a time the country government could not pay civil servants even after 2-3 months. So the harmonization was a way where they say, okay, if say we're making 1,005, they divide that 1,005 to a complete person on the payroll, right? That's a mentality. They didn't cost civil servant salary, which was very unprecedented, because there's nowhere in the world a salary is flexible backward. It's only flexible upward, right? So how will you, a Samuel person will be an economist? If they are writing the obituary of the CDC government tomorrow, he's not going to be exempted. He's the reason why Georgia is going to be defeated, because this harmonization policy is an offspring of Samuel twisted logic. And so they find themselves in a problem. Just today, again, there are people in the ministries and agencies that are having meetings with the employee to sort out some of the issue. And you know what the employer are telling them? You slash our salary and you expect us to vote for you.
Let me do this.
So this thing cannot be sorted out.
We will not conclude all of what we needed to discuss because of time. But
we're not going nowhere yet.
No, already it's after 8. We have 9 o'clock. So let me go to Bloje. Bloje, I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. The time is roughly 60 minutes past 8 o'clock.
On a new topic, right?
On a new issue. It's an open thing now, right? We are into campaign. I want you to use that 5 minutes to campaign and tell the people, sell your candidate, give reasons why they should read President Weah as to move ahead.
I will still use 1 minute to respond to someone left.
No problem, but you got 5 minutes though.
It says, the government hire more people on the payroll. False argument. We have 7,000 present plus on the government payroll. The government hire less than 10,000 present on the payroll. And it's insane for anybody to believe that people who are graduating from colleges and high schools every year and they should not work in the government. And the government wins and comes to power, they should not hire people. That's insanity. He says that or the extractive industry, what kind of or investor the government has got for extractive industry? There's a problem. You want to keep digging all of our resources and carry, but the fact is, where other investment should we bring when you sold 66 out of 68 concession as bogus? You already say everything. You already say everything. Then you say the name of bring new investor. But how can that happen? You sold all our resources, gold, diamond, everything, money, everything, and you come and argue for new investment. No, that's not going to happen. So I just wanted to cover up or report that point. Now let's get into why George Weah has to be reelected. Number one, we talk about the whole concept of peace and security in this country. For the last 6 years, almost 6 years, we have managed our country on our own. So just better leadership that we don't have only you. Joseph Boakai, you could not govern on your own. You needed to be managed by international security. You have own mayor. They will give you have war tank, police, everything. You could not manage, did not trust you to manage it after your first 6 years. You still did not prove that you're a better governor. Mommy was still have to stay here for another 6 years to govern. We can't allow you to govern because you may lead this country to chaos. And the evidence in your opposition group you formed called CPP. That group is chaotic today. Bad leadership. We cannot permit such a person to govern this country. So on that point, Josh, we have schools on that. Development. I laid a point, they made a case earlier. We have seen since 1847 development for the first time in the history of this country. Josh, we are doing a lot of stuff. And we are also seeing improvement in the government revenue. The same sources of government revenue, the same concession, you sign for 12 years, and you are giving us smaller money. Today, we're collecting money from the people then because we have more accountability. We are collecting more money on behalf. Let's look at one of the most important things, education. You boast that education was priority, but we saw under the government, youth empowerment, the money was fleeced by Joseph Boakai, $75 million, no accountability. On George Weah, we saw students failing every year watch exam where they were failed, they fail. Today, until the educator will consider a mess, today, on George, we are the facts empirical are there that every year we have more students passing. Why? Because of the kind of policy Mr. President has put into place. Improvement. So we are making our progress. Lighting system. For 12 years, you told us small light today, big light tomorrow. We did not get there. Today, we see more people are connected in Liberia.
One more minute.
Electricity, and in fact, it's cheaper now than in the past. People are paying more. More people have electricity today. Road connectivity, of course, we talk about that. And healthcare, health. We've seen new hospital for the first time in the country, all across the country, Babulu, or Lima, many places across the country, we've seen hospital being built. And the good thing about it, the difference here is that all this is government sponsored revenue money. It is not international welfare. You gotta go beg for money outside. Your very election today that we are having, that you are enjoying, the money is being raised and spent by the Liberian government. We are not depending on international welfare. All these prove good government on the part of George. We are now on its own. The country can do these things by themselves, and we're not depending on international welfare like you, who your only cry is, let's bring in somebody to come and build our country. No, my friend. Foreigner will not build Liberia. Only Liberians will build Liberia, and we need a Liberian-made president.
Thank you.
Believe
Your
in
time has
Liberia to
expired.
Liberia.
Thank you very much. Let me go to Diana Sando. If your 5 minutes expire, I won't. 21 past 8. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so let me start by firstly again exposing or highlighting some of the inaccuracy in his statement. He said the hospitals that was built in Babolu was built by the government of Liberia. That is not true. Uh, the government from the Emirati government came and funded that project for the people of Liberia. So I hope that you can ask him to please correct that, because there are people listening here. Stunning. When you ask somebody who come to the studio to say, tell me why should your candidate be elected, the person goes on to call Joseph Boaga name almost 100 times and become repetitious. And it tells you that that person has no substantive grounds upon which he wants to canvass for his presidential candidate, right? And which is the reason why the CDC is losing the election. They're losing the election because they have not found their feet on the ground yet. Up to now, they cannot tell you as a government what they have done to warrant their re-election. They come up with a challenge and nonsensical since 1847 argument. What does that? This country is 176 years old, and you come up to tell me that somebody who has become president for the last 5 years, 7 or 8 months, has done more than people who were president before him. Now, so let's look at the developmental initiative across the country. You fall short of giving me anything. All you say, oh, people in the United Party were corrupted. But that's not the point. So basically, I'm not required to tell you why Joseph Boakai should be elected. And I would do so by perforating very vehemently the lazy argument he put for. He said the security situation, not yet again, we control our own security, this and that. If the security situation in this country is anything to judge the George Weah government by, then he will be kicked out of the mansion tomorrow morning. If the security situation in this country, just a month or two ago, Louis Brown was in the studio. He was attacked. It took the LMP to come to his rescue. Every morning you walk into the street, you see there are mysterious killings, suspicious death. And the sad thing about it is that the state, through the Liberian National Police, the Ministry of Justice, has proven to be very ineffective in investigating this situation. So if the security situation in this country was anything to judge the government by, Georgia will be kicked out of the mansion tomorrow morning, because he has told clearly he cannot provide us security. We need to buy our CCTV camera, even though LDC is not existing in place. So that's the reason why some of us are very unapologetic. We made a conscious decision to say what George Weah has proven is gross incompetence on the job. He has proven to be more interested in the pleasantries of the presidency than the actual duties of the presidency. That simply shows that he is immature. So that's why we want to usher in a more responsible leadership, headed by the most experienced civil servant in this country, Ambassador Joseph Boakai. Some of the reasons why the country is going scatter, it's not because people hate George Weah, but because George does not have interest in what he does at the presidency. There is somebody who runs the whole country from Jamaica Resort. Who does that? We saw how President said he was sit in the mansion during late night hours to read documents, to make critical decisions for our country. Yes, our president who doesn't go to work. He runs the country from his Jamaica resort. It's proof to us that he's incapable of doing the job. The next thing I will
One
say-
more minute.
See
See your time. See your time. When I call the time, you say, see it. There you go. You see it, right?
I have 2 more minutes.
No, one more
I
minute.
said 8:21.
36.
I said 8:21.
But count it.
But you are interrupted.
No, go ahead. One more
The
minute.
next thing we talk about here, why we should kick George Weah out, is because Sekou, part of the insecurity problem, look at the drug epidemic. And at this point, I know there are parents who are listening to this broadcast. And they are concerned about the children. We are blaming the government for the push and all the dangerous substances because we say that Joe, we are bringing it here. But the question that we should be asking ourselves, what is the government doing to protect our children from future victimization of these dangerous substances? The government is doing nothing. The DA is compromised. The airport facilities are open. For the first time in our country history, $100 million worth of justice have discovered here.
Okay, thank you.
What become of it?
The time has
The people
expired.
fled the country.
26.
The
Now,
government let them go.
let me
So the
ask
president is
you.
an accomplice.
I have two
He's
questions.
colluding with drug dealers.
I have two questions before
Yes.
we go to the lines. Daniel, I want to play something, and it is from the vice tender bearer, someone that is contesting on Unity Party ticket, along with Ambassador Buaka. What did he say in one of his interviews? I want you to be honest to the Liberian people.
I hope you play Moruno interview too. So let's just stand up.
If you have it, I'll play.
No, I come in now. Let's just stand up here.
If you have it, I'll
Let's
play.
just, no, you
So you don't tell me, Daniel, what to do.
I'm just saying to you.
Okay, then you share with me.
To not be biased.
Well, you share with me.
I don't have it, so you should have it.
Okay, so just
So I
make this right.
supported this case could have NDC. So I supported Joseph Parker, knowing that 2023 he'll be tired. He could have a good heart, a good everything good, but the brain is going down. You're not holding the end. You're moving down the hill. This is nature. My father, Renan, I buy him paper. Every day I gotta buy a paper. There's a man who bought me paper before. This case could happen behind the scenes. So I supported Joseph Parker, knowing that 2023 he'll be tired. He could have a good heart, a good everything good, but the brain is going down. You're not holding the end. You're moving down the hill. This is nature. My father, Renan, I buy him paper.
Daniel, what do you make of this?
Well, Mr. Kuhn was very clear. He said he supported Joseph Boakai with the hope that Boakai would not be around in 2023, right? Is Boakai not around? Is Boakai not well? Is he not healthy? We sit on the radio every day and talk about Joseph Boakai health. Joseph Boakai is even more healthy than some of the people that are passing around here. So, I mean, I can't come on the radio to discuss somebody. I'm not clothed authority. I'm not a medical practitioner.
It is not about the
Discuss somebody
discussion,
health.
but it's about what the person that Ambassador Buaka is contesting along with
Yes.
said about him in the context of what was being discussed about him.
Why would be
That by
discussed about
now-
him?
Didn't you listen to it?
But so what I'm saying to you, he said he anticipated about now Joseph Boakai will be he'll be winding down in his health and this and that. Well, has it come to pass? And to even
Daniel,
defeat
you've not been
to even
honest on
defeat
this point.
to even defeat the purpose of that argument. Where is Mr. Kuhn today? Is he not vice tender bearer to Ambassador Boakai?
So it means you people are not realistic to the issues, and you do these things for personal greed.
Except for the day you want to become a medical doctor, give the microphone go to AM Dr. T. Said it for 10 years. Then you can tell me whether I'm well or not.
So
You must say we're not medical doctor. Jeremiah, we're not medical doctor.
how did you get to know that? How did you get to know that President Weah is working along with people in terms of drugs issues?
To say the president is colluding with a drug dealer, I knew it would come to that point.
How did you?
Because
Are you an investigator?
the president,
Are you an
I'm
investigator?
coming, Sekou. Sekou, I'm coming. The president is commander in chief of the armed forces of Liberia. The president is head of government. The president is head of state, right? So the Liberian constitution create a 3-into-1 leadership for us, right? The president is 3-into-1. Okay? So when the president is the president of the country and 100 million worth of drug coming to the country, it don't come by miracle. There's a network of drug cartels that the president is dealing with. I'm saying that the president is colluding with drug dealers.
Let me ask you, Bloje.
I think we'll go to the line again.
No, I need to get
So
this.
why you can play Madonna recording when you said the president can sleep with the girl to give him a job?
No, but like I said, I don't have it. If you give me a play. Of this, it says something that the people in the opposition, they've been honest to the people, because the person that is contesting on the ticket along with Ambassador Boka is saying that Ambassador Boka is not fit.
Look, the deception is very clear right here. The statement, nowhere in our statement did Kuhn say that he didn't expect for Boka to be around.
I mean, you're listening well.
Said that he supported Boka for first one term, but you know the next term Boka will be mentally depreciating. He didn't say he didn't expect Boka to be around. So you see, that's deception right there to mischaracterize a clear statement. He did not say that Boka wouldn't be around. He said that I will not support him again after that time because of the conditions. But I'm not surprised anyway. I'm never surprised at the Unity Party and the kind of arguments and reasoning that they offer. Boka is no stranger to the deception, manipulations, corniness of Liberian politics. This is why this man has survived in the political space for this long time. But he's a master,
a whole new argument.
He's a master in this game.
You know, you get him at $5 billion.
Master in this game. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at that. And it's wishful for anybody to imagine that Joseph Boka will be president of this country.
Okay. But it's not for you to determine, because even if you apply, come in and say, you want to apply the twisted logic from my friend here to what Molu said.
They'll go to the lines.
But what did Molu say about the president? And the president is a criminal.
Right? Go to the lines.
And the president sleep with him.
0770907907907 080907907 are the two lines. For those of you in my GB, other parts of the country, you want to call us tonight, call us on 0770 942048 0770 This line is an alternative line for those of the people in Mangibi and its surrounding, because we have our sub branch there, and it is on 89.7 in Kakata, Mangibi County, Voice of Liberia as well. So you can call us. Maybe you have the means to call the two numbers in Monrovia. This person, hello. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you, brother?
Go ahead, sir. Let's hear you.
Yeah, this is Sensi Gitara. I'm calling from Corwell.
Yes, let's give you a few seconds.
I wanted to speak to the issues related to.
You need to be fast, please. We have too many questions on the line.
Okay. The mistake is, you better always speak about Joseph Boka ill. What does it mean by Joseph Boka is ill? Joseph Boka is a people face. The best thing to do is then discuss the issue and forget about personal, or personal or figure or whatsoever we're discussing.
Okay, thank you. This other person, we'll give you a few seconds. Hello.
Yeah, good evening, Seku.
Good evening. Let's hear you.
Good evening to the discussions. I'm here somewhere like Ghetto, people is not from local town.
Few seconds, my brother.
Yes, let me applaud both of them. But it is a clear manifestation that Liberian people, we elect Joseph Boka, who told us that 1 million jobs will be created in the first 6 months. He said it before. Even he said again, like one that said, even if you consider 1822, that is about 1
Thank you. Let me take another person. Few seconds. Too many calls. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah, I just want to speak to your fellow institute.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, the guy that supported the United Party. You know, he's a disgrace to in institute. You look at.
Sorry, I won't allow you using the kinds of words on my guests. You can speak, disagree, but don't, Hello.
Yes, Sego, how
Good
are
evening.
you today?
Go ahead, sir.
And it's a good evening to Daniel Sanders. This is John B. Tamba, and I'm comfortable around this very well. My question to the student discussion from the CBC angle. Please tell when Joseph Boka left the APMC the year of the date. When you talk about,
that high school quiz into on here. Okay, thank you. Let me take another person. Good evening. Yeah, good evening. Let's hear you.
My name is Alvin Banana, and I'm calling for the human drop. Well, let me appreciate all my God for pumping breath into us, our voice to be heard. And my brother, it's also laudable to hear people say they have to brought enough foreign investment into the country. And now there's no investment, no foreign investment, no economic development is going on our foreign investment. Why is the foreign investment? Because we see nothing. So what do I want to go on? What is foreign investment out here?
Thank you. This person. Hello. Good evening. For those of you in my GB 0770942048, that line is for you people 0770942048. For those of you in my GB, hello. Let me take this other person. Good evening.
Hello?
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, Ali Kamara calling from Logintown.
Ali, go ahead.
Yeah, my question to this, our CDC man in studio. Why always say 1947? 1947 say Liberia-VOL funded. You know, she, what a job I want to no, my brother, thank you very much. Allah bless you. Allah give you long life.
Amina, inshallah. Let me take this person. Hello. Okay, let me go to the line. This should be from my GB or somewhere far. Hello. Yeah, good evening. Let's hear you.
Yeah, my name is Muhammad. I'm calling you the wrong day. Yeah.
KRTTI in Kakata?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Let's hear you.
Yeah, but simple thing about for the short. But my issue here is Russia since 1847 the person you have done work more than all the person according to the government. Then why should he campaign more the opposition? He's just going to relax and let the liberate people vote it because if you do work, you sit and wait for the good result. Watching campaign more the opposition everywhere, he flies everywhere different you get rest. Why should he after you have done the kind of good work? You just going to relax and wait for the pay. He's going to be campaign more the opposition.
Okay, thank you. Let me take another person here. Hello. Good evening.
Yes, I'm James calling from Logintown. I just want to
You calling from where?
Logintown.
No, this is not Logintown line. Hello.
Hello, Shibu.
Good evening.
That's me, and I call you from Takata.
Go ahead.
Let me say I want to my senior brother, and the Liberian people, we have resolved 123 or towards 10 GMB, all the way. Thank you, sir.
Let me take another person here. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Good evening. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm calling Takata. Hello.
Go ahead. You're live.
Yeah, I'm calling from Takata. I'm not using, but I'm trying to get at what we tell you to Julia Waga was able to. Yeah, so I'm trying to tell you that my man is that's what Waga was. You can see his mother and his father was not wrong, so he's not so that again.
Okay, thank you. Let me take another person here. Yes, person. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ruben Cannon.
Yeah, let me appreciate you and also your guys. And you see, Sekou, a lot of deception is from the angle of the opposition. You see more deception from them. You saw a few months back when everybody said, within 100 days, all the rules will be applied by them. Few days back, this man has just come again. And 6 more time, 1 year will be provided. And my brother is not talking about this statement from Senator Johnson against my own uncle from the country. Because no matter what we do, like what is what we have.
Okay, thank you. Let me take another person. Few seconds to one of our callers. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Matthew. Welcome from. Yeah, thank you so much for the platform tonight. And I want to say thank you to my chief Dennis for the point to put through. Now, CDC people, they had nothing to pull. It's just forget about burger health. So, they should be able to tell the people something sensible. They said they have been doing everything was possible. Why is it that they just running with something there and there? No,
but what do you think by inside the campaign now?
The broadcast.
Okay, thank you. Let me take this person here. Hello.
Good evening, Shebu.
Yeah, good evening. Let's hear you.
Thank you very much for giving me such a great opportunity. And me say good evening to your fellow guests for the great information on your
Robots, go ahead.
my limited recognition. For the recognition, I'm so proud, Robert, and I'm the chairman for the Central Television for my Poti, for the re-election of President George Manley, developmental oriented.
Poka, your money, Vinny? Poka? Okay, your union has been. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, we even speaking in unit to villagers,
Mm.
Yeah, my name is Tanisha Dennis. I call you from Jakarta.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm monitoring the radio and Google, listening to people, guests, with you. My own concern is that I just want to urge the garden.
Hello? Oh, it's bad. You need to call us back. Let me take more calls. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, good evening. Let's hear you.
I'm calling from Kuala.
Okay, Boyman, go ahead.
Yeah, according to that young man, the CDC man, he said that they are say that Wakai would not.
But you listen to the team playing here? No, just say
Yeah, I come in and say, why he come back here, the same man was saying, he come back here to the to support Wakai. Meaning that he lied. So we agree with him. He lied. Wakai healthy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me take this person here. Hello? Oh, too bad. Hello? Hello? Good evening. You need to move from where you are. Okay, I need to let you go. Let me take another person. You came in very bad. I tried to do all to have you on. Hello? Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, this is my uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you know.
Where you joining us from, sir?
Yeah, the people always say all the negative thing about Stephen Barrow, but I don't care what they say. Is Ambassador Joseph Mapaka will carry. So thank you.
Thank you very much. This person. Hello? Hello? Good evening.
Hello, Sekou.
Good evening. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Manata, I'll call from the old.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the issue about Sando, I don't know. You were speaking in Latin as Sambato, if you understand the economic theory. Sambato been clear. First thing he said that the government, it comes to rule. There's nothing I've been done about rule. I don't understand Sando 12, how the rule development. When it comes to the government performance, he said the government have been knocking. But Donald Trump, he was sent, he was offered assistant to Grand Master Senator.
Okay, my brother, no time. We'll give you time. Just go to the point. Hello?
Thank you, so good. Let me appreciate your senior guest.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Aman Kosbandebe, and I joined the conversation from station number 15.
Sorry, sir. This line is now for. Okay, let me just squeeze you in. Go ahead, just a few seconds. This line is for the people from RGB or the past. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, and thank you for the opportunity. I just want to point out a very significant point, and that is Daniel Sanders now is laboring under a burden that he knows absolutely nothing about. The Union Party provided 12 years of administration. In their own words, they told us that they squandered the opportunity. You don't know to what extent these people squandered the opportunity, but because we are in collaboration with them, we are compared now to shoulder them.
Okay, thank you. This person. Hello?
Yes, hello?
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, people, and good evening to your studio guests.
What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Tanisha Dennis. I'm calling from Jakarta, number 3.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm glued to my radio, listening to the both guests in the studio. My concern has to do with the whether there is any the angle of the CEC. I wouldn't want to give you a message that I want you to inform the president or the governor as a whole that for us who work 2022 has been indicator for the national housing and population census. We have not received our money. Our just benefit we have not receiving. We are appealing to the government or the president of the party to please make sure that we get our money. We are appealing to him that we need that money.
Okay, thank you. This person here. Hello?
Hello, Sekou. How you doing?
No, I'm okay. And you?
I'm good. Alhamdulillah.
Okay.
Yes, I want to tell the brother in the studio that is saying that he has not seen nothing that the government has done when it comes to road. Okay, fine. 12 years. 12 years. I don't think we're supposed to even be discussing roads. Because if you're talking about the road subsystem region is cut off, we have to pass through other roads before we come to the subsystem. So what were they doing at that time? 12 years. We're not only discussing roads. Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah. At least there's no too much time to do it. Daniel Sando, I mean, man, I come from the O. Daniel Sando understands his sense that he really economics only in the water.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, let me take this person. I'm going to take two more calls. Hello?
Hello, my brother. How are you doing?
Yeah, go ahead.
This mommy kid are calling from Kingsville.
Yeah, Mohammed, go ahead.
Yeah, this edition they are very less busy. They are not really know what is unfolding. Right now, the Bucharest are demonstrating against them. And secondly, they're talking about development in the business and the economy. What's better going on in this community and what's better going on in the country? Did a second look at it. Now the school fees coming out to kind of really better what we're going to do.
Okay.
They're pushing around.
Thank you very much. This person should be from MyDB or somewhere around MyDB. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yes, I'm calling from Castle.
City, let's hear you.
Yeah. So what I mean, what I want to say about education about I know Jawea. You know that Jawea have made the country so hard to the extent that even if the black teacher were accepted and gave you grade to grade the pass, you know
So,
that
you know, you so happy doing you did part of the time.
most of them pass it today because the driving the teachers there. All of your administration, they heard about this.
This country that is just okay, thank you very much. Let me come back to my guests. You're listening to the calls, and I'll ask you people one question before we can wrap up. Let me start with Daniel. Daniel, you're listening to the calls. What do you have to say? And then before I go to, Blue Jay.
We're still getting feedback on the line.
Yeah, we can take the calls then because
Okay, so
it's much better, right?
Our Liberian people are speaking.
Mm.
I didn't get a total number of callers who called.
Many calls.
But there were many callers who called.
Mm.
And obviously you can see what they are leaning.
Mhm.
You can see what they are leaning, right? So I don't have much to say, except for the guy who tried to question the analysis that I made on the prevailing economic and security situation in the country. It's something that you cannot debate. You cannot debate it because it is empirical. It is empirical. You don't need a security expert to tell you that the country is far more insecure than what it was 5 years ago. Right? You don't need a security expert. You don't need an economist to tell you that the price of the bag of rice, the 25 kg that was sold for $13, as at the time the United Party left government, the United Party left the presidency, you don't need an economist to tell you that it is sold for $20, $21, $22 a day. What has the CDC government got to say about that? So the Liberian people are speaking. They are speaking, and they're speaking out their mind. And that's why we said to our people, that the campaign is not about Joseph Human Parker. This campaign is about the country. And for some of us who do a bit of PR and everything, you see how we are successful to brand our campaign? The rescue mission. How many Liberians don't want to be rescued from that kind of situation? So that's why we're moving.
Okay,
We're
let's go
moving
to
across the country. But like one of the callers said, if Georgia had done so much, the any other president since 1847, why is he even under the ring walking the people water down water side?
no, but it's not even Ellen, your current political leader,
Eddie
former
didn't
boss.
tell you.
She campaign.
Now,
So it's not
don't
about
get it wrong, Sekou.
No,
Eddie,
I don't see
Eddie
anything wrong
didn't
with
tell
that.
you that she's the best president since 1847. Did Eddie say that to you?
Who's one of the presidents that
No,
would
but
not say
the
the best
reason
things
why
at the
we
top?
hold, the reason why we raise his stand up for George Weah because he said to us that he's the best president since 1847.
Okay, so let's go to Blue Jay.
So how can the best president be on the ring campaigning for votes?
I don't see that to be a problem.
No, it's very demeaning for the man who said he had done so much for the country.
Blue Jay, what do you make of the callers?
Yeah, I think again what I heard, especially from the supporters of the Unity Party, is the same misinformation.
They are Liberians. They're not supporters.
And it's very dangerous for people to misinform their supporters and make them to be uneducated. That's very dangerous for society because it makes them blind.
You say
to
Liberians were
reality.
uneducated?
No,
And some of the supporters of the Unity Party. I say it's very dangerous for you to make them to be blind loyalists. Uneducated. That's dangerous for society because now they're just going to be followers. They're not going to be thinking for themselves. That's very dangerous. And look, let's even take the argument that why is George Weah campaigning? That's a dangerous disinformation for people to even have. Look, Joseph Boga campaigned against the CDC in 2011 when the CDC even announced that they were not campaigning in the second round of that elections. The CDC suspended all activity. The CDC did not campaign, but yet we saw Joseph Boga going from county to county campaigning. Why was he campaigning? So the point here is that the Unity Party continue to deceive the people, and that is so dangerous. In election, it doesn't matter how much you have done. The reason why you go to campaign is also a sign of respect for your people, and that's why we talk about the quality leadership that George Weah has given to Liberia, democratic leadership. There's one requirement of democracy. It is not your belief, your perspective. That's why election laws are laid down. There's a date and time set for people to campaign. George Weah is acting in conformity with the duties and obligations as a leader to campaign. It is not illegal. It is not wrong. Why are you deceiving your people, making it look like a bad thing? And closing on that point, the issue of bag of rice. Come on now. You had 12 years. You had free money for the international community. We should not even be discussing bag of rice price, but because of the dependency syndrome, you should have invested in Liberia agriculture program. When Liberia should be making its own rice, producing its own rice, a big country like Nigeria, China, India, all the countries feeding themselves, they got more population in Liberia. You still crying on price of bag of rice? It's a disgrace to Joseph Boga, who claimed to be in agriculture, when he even have a rice farm in Liberia.
Okay, let's
producing rice in Liberia, not crying for bag of rice.
Let's end up on this, and I'll ask you this question, and before I go to Daniel Sando, and I'm going to get each of you a minute because we don't have time. All we do, the peace is very paramount to what we do. Blue Jay, you from the CDC. How can we maintain the peace of this country as we move towards the October 10 elections? And we need to live after the elections.
Look, a very good question. And I will answer that question based on a recent action coming from the opposition, where in fact I don't know whether they go to the Supreme Court, but they are issuing a challenge to the voter or the voter registration process. It tells you that people who are bent on creating chaos and violence. We know the people in the Unity Party, the recent action has is informing us that they are incapable of winning elections fairly in Liberia. And so they imagine that the CDC cannot win fairly, but the records show the CDC have lost recent by-elections. We all challenge, we all conduct. They celebrated those things. The fact that they continue to advocate fraud when election has not taken place, the fact that they continue to create or alarm in the country to tell people that when CDC win, there will be chaos, there will be violence. That's the problem we're having. And we are telling all of our supporters, the CDC came to power through a democratic process. We won election. We believe in democracy. We know the people in the Unity Party. We know the record in this country.
Okay, thank you.
We know the violent action. So we can only encourage our people to remain peaceful.
Okay.
And let's continue with this process.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's go to Daniel Sano.
So Sekou, there, to your question, there are many things we can say about how the CDC has taken actions to endanger the peace of the country.
How can we maintain
You see,
the
I'm
peace?
coming. They are the ruling government. They have got that fiduciary responsibility when they open up the campaign with the toting of casket, right? At the party.
But that's not illegal. That's not illegal.
No, allow him to talk.
Let's correct that point.
No,
It's not
allow
illegal.
him,
Deception. Do not deceive.
please, no
people.
time.
It was
We
not
need to
illegal.
allow. Okay, I'll cut you, but I will go ahead.
So when they begin a campaign with the toting of caskets, with a portrait bearing the images of another party's political leader, it tells you what they are up to, right? With the wave of international and national condemnation that they receive, I hope they can learn from the lesson. But talking about protecting the peace, I think the CDC has got a bigger stake to play. And I listen to Bloje talking about people going to court to challenge the process. You know, you have to understand that this is a democratic society, and the best place to go when you are dissatisfied is to the court. So if somebody in the opposition got a problem, and a Liberian who feel disenfranchised by that voter rule, where do they go? Do they go throw stone a neck, or do they go carry a casket with the other picture on it like CDC would do? The best place to go when you got challenged for the electoral process is to go to the court.
Okay.
Right? So there's absolutely, contrary to what this young man will have people to believe, right, that it is wrong to go to court. It's not wrong.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, thank you
It's
very
not
much,
wrong.
Daniel Sano and Bloje. I want to say thank you to the both of you for honoring our invite to come today and speak on important issues in the country. And I hope we can have these kinds of conversations as we move towards the October.
Maybe you can give Bloje another opportunity so they can go to better prepared to go through the economy and everything. Come out with I was saying we would not debate it.
Bloje. So I want to say thank you, my brother.
Thank you again, Sano. We'll just continue to debunk the myth, and I'm convinced Liberian people are very wise and smart and honest in the development.
Everybody flocking you see from the colors.
Development are very difficult things to do. This country will have to grow itself. We have to develop our country on our own. Nobody's going to do it for us, and we are convinced that Liberian people know.
Thank you. And that's all the time. We've got to be in here. We've got to be here tonight. I want to say thank you to all of our listeners in and out of Liberia, listening to us on our online platform on www.voiceofliberiaradio.com.